let's go ahead and okay. Okay. Let's get our platforms. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I see it coming on. There it is. There it is. The IG is good. Okay. See Facebook coming along. Let's get it right. Get the Facebook in order. All right. Facebook. Boo-boo. It's good. What's going on the Twitter machine? How's Twitter doing? Let's get Twitter to where it needs to be. All right. Twitter is a go for launch. YouTube is good. And yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's get the Twitch in order. Learning something new every episode. I'm going to have to adjust the lighting just a bit. It's good. I might not have to. I think we're good. I think we are good. And then I might move it back. But how's everybody doing out there? How's your day, your weekend? I hope it's good. Talk a little bit about what's going on in the Commonwealth. The forecast. We're gonna get to the forecast, okay? You will understand what the forecast is here in the Commonwealth. But a good day overall. Let me just let folks know. What's going on before we dive in. Let them know they can jump onto the and you guys are welcome as well. Let me just got folks are hoping tomorrow. Appreciate that. Okay, let them know. Got the phone. The phone got updated here, so everything looks good. Appreciate these updates. Right. Said I gotta make sure. Just gotta make sure you have enough power and you got enough storage for the updates. So that's good. People have been notified. What's going on, Chris? Salute. Lot to get to. AFC, NFC championship games on the horizon. I'm looking to be in the building for that tomorrow. As we navigate the different things, weather and otherwise. So we're gonna dive right into this. I mean, you know what I mean? We're gonna make, what do they say? We got to get it while the getting is good. As we step up. We're not ready just yet. Let me just check my levels. No. But yeah, a lot of hey, we come on now. We ready to rock and roll. SandCity Sports. To the business. I am your host, the King, Dr. Artist, woman known as Andre King. What's going on with you, my people? Thank you so much for tuning in to SandCity Sports. We're back again to bring you sports current events. Share a little bit of come on back. Yes, sir. SandCity. On a frigid, super duper Saturday night. Go! That young man that man, Mr. Darnold, talking about I need some respect on my name. Okay, Matt Stafford trying to put him, all right, in the batter's box, in the bridesmaid category. Okay, step into the put him over to the side. Okay, what did Patrick Swayze said? Nobody puts baby in a corner. Matt Stafford trying to put Mr. Sam Darnold back in the corner. Okay, keep him out of the limelight, away from the opportunity that he has earned his way to. Right? Let me just preface this, right? Our nation right now, we're going through very difficult times. We're in a difficult moment. This is sports. We're talking about sports and culture, not a political broadcast, but we will talk about what we're going through as individuals and in this country. We're going to be real. All right. So I'm going to make a reference to the Minnesota Vikings, who gave up way too early on a baller. That Darnold. That Samuel. Right? Tip my hat to Minnesota for extending Brian Flores. Deserves all of his money. Deserves another opportunity in the big chair, amongst other things. Realize there's things happening off the field with Brian Flores in the NFL, but he's a head coach. No doubt about it. And I'm glad he got all his money as the defensive coordinator for the Vikings. But y'all did it to yourselves, Vikings. Okay. Y'all could have kept it going, kept it rolling with Mr. Darnold last year. And you could be in the NFC Championship game. But no. He took his talents to the Pacific Northwest, and he has the Seahawks right on the. And now, you know what I mean? What? Where's Al Pacino at? Where's Any Given Sunday at? We fighting for that inch. We scratching and clawing for that inch. My people, your boy, the Cape Cod kid, I'm still here. Got to adjust the lighting just a little bit. But, we're going to get into this. We're getting into this. I got to move my lighting back just a bit. It's going to be, but you're a little bit too close. Lighting is good, but it's a little bit too close. Okay, we move it back. We good. Okay, the lighting is good. Just had to, know what I mean? The lighting is good. You know what I mean? But we had to say, hey, where's your boy at? I'm back. Okay? We had to say, do you really want to party with me, yo? Let me see just what you got for me. Woo-wee! Put all the hands where my eyes can see. We straight buck wildin' in the place to be. Hey. Appreciate that. Chris. Hold on. Let me get my shot right. Okay, that's good. That young bull drop 43. You know what I mean? We're gonna excuse me. Let's go ahead and rock with that. I want to get into it. You know what I mean, Chris? Per usual, bringing that good. Marinara, we see that Mr. DeBansa, young AJ gave him 43 today. Okay, let's get AJ on the screen and let's talk about it. Hold on. Now we're going to get the right art to field this conversation. There it is. Let's. Yes, sir. We got the imagery we need right off the bat. Off rip. Okay. Let's go here. Okay, I mean, these delays, hopefully they're getting less and less. Hopefully the delays are getting less and less. And we can. But let's stay on subject right now. Let's stay on the subject. That young man, AJ, gave him 43 today. We need to discuss. Is this the number one pick in the NBA draft? Clear cut, undisputed. No doubt about it. You know where I stand on this. Coming from the Commonwealth, let him get that number one spot. A lot of, I don't want to frame this. Yes, this is the number one overall pick in the NBA draft. We're talking about a situation, we're talking, right, where the number one and number two picks are just, right. I'm going back to the Grant Hill, Jason Kidd, Glenn Robinson draft. I got to go back to 94, right? The big dog was number one. Remember that draft? Big dog number one going to Milwaukee. I believe Jason Kidd was 2 going to Dallas, and Grant Hill was 3. We're going to get this for you on the big board. All right? Chris, 100% right now. This big 3, right? You're saying, nah. I'm saying, yes, sir. Yes, sir, for Mr. DeBanza. That's why he gave him 43 today. Darren Patterson is the, he's the favorite to go number one overall. But is he giving him 43? Has Darren Patterson played all season? Has he been grinding like AJ's been grinding? Okay? We're not doing this Dante Exum. Yeah, I said what I said. We're not doing the Dante Exum. The boy wonder from Australia. Are you comparing Darren Peterson to Dante Exum? Yes, I am. And I'm borrowing. We cite our sources on SandCity. I'm borrowing this take from Bill Simmons, who said, why the heck did Dante Exum, who, by the way, went 5th in the draft, go ahead, who played a couple games in Australia and then went into hiding? But we're going to draft him 5th on potential. And Marcus Smart, yes, Marcus Smart, that lockdown defender whose talents are in LA right now, played every single game, battled through the season at Oklahoma State, where Marcus Smart was a scorer. He came into the NBA and mastered the role, right? Everybody can't do what they want to do when they get to the association. You better master your role. Shout out to Draymond Green. This is one thing we agree on. Go check out that clip, Draymond Green at the camp, mastering your role. Check it out. Marcus Smart made a place for himself in the NBA by mastering his role. Shout out to Pat Bev as well. The pride of Chi-Town. Marshall. Mastering your role. Allowing them to have long, successful careers. But Dante Exum goes into hiding, and what do we see? The proof is in the pudding. So, yes, I am comparing Darren Peterson to Dante Exum. Okay. All right. Yeah, okay. Point taken. Kyrie. Now, my rejoinder to that, and it's a good point, but we knew who Kyrie was based on what he did at St. Patrick's in Elizabeth coming to Duke. And by the way, Kyrie sat out with an injury. What's Darren Peterson's injury? A hamstring strain? Stop that. Kyrie's injuries at Duke were consistent with his injuries throughout the course of his career. He got knee problems. Right? A talented point guard from Chicago, Mr. Rose. Oh, and don't think we're not going to talk about Thibs today, folks. Don't think I haven't been, okay? Don't think the dreaded day shift has not kept me away from the fury that I have to unleash, right? Y'all people out there had things to say about my man Thibs, as if we haven't kept every single last receipt. I'm calling my account right now. Turbo Max, whoever it is that does my taxes. They're getting a call right now. A lot of people want to come back into the camp after what you said about my man Thibs, the coach. I wanted to come through with my New York Knicks orange on right now. I couldn't do it. Partly because I rocked my New York Knicks gear a couple episodes ago. I try to switch it up. You know what it is. I try to switch it up a little bit. Tell me what that's just me. I'm trying to switch it up. But I wanted to come through with the New York Knicks orange because I got things to say to y'all people that had Thibs slander in your mouth. A lot of yous out there. Yous. That's right. I'm talking to all of you. Now you want to come back, return to the camp. Where it's me and maybe 2-3 other people that have been Team Thibs from day one. I'm day one Team Thibs. Y'all was happy. When no, hold on. No, because there's Thibs. I can't say this. I can't say this. Mad Dog Russo, a lot, you know what I mean? A lot of people were with me enraged. When what went down, went down. When the go down, went down. How y'all did Thibs. After he done brought back prosperity to the New York Knicks. We're coming back to AJ DeBanza. Oh, we got some. But let's come back to this young lion. Yes, number one pick. I said what I said. Because he been out here grinding. Darren Peterson, yes. Okay, what you know what I mean? It's tomato. Let's call the whole thing off. Any three of these guys could be the number one pick. Let's just keep it 100. And I made the comparison that I made. Glenn Robinson, Jason Kidd, Grant Hill. 1, 2, 3. 94 draft. Right? That's when we had to have a Cole. All three of them could have won Rookie of the Year. Because people have forgotten Glenn Robinson. And, right? Glenn Robinson is to Grant Hill what Carmelo Anthony is to LeBron James. I said what I said. You understand? So don't people forget Glenn Robinson, the big dog out of Purdue, was a dog from day one in the NBA. By the way, we forget that Milwaukee Bucks team of Grant Hill, of Ray Allen, Sam Cassell, Glenn Robinson, and oh yes, one Mr. Tim Thomas, who y'all might have forgotten. Tim Thomas out of the great state of New Jersey, the Garden State, 6'10", Lamar Odom game, explosive. If Tim Thomas ever locked in, right? That I was such a huge Tim Thomas fan. Okay, but he never locked in to be. Who can we compare Tim Thomas? Like Lamar, Lamar Odom is the best comparison. But Tim Thomas was more explosive than Lamar. Oh yes. Tim Thomas was 6'10" and explosive. Lamar could do what he could do. Yeah, Darren. Yeah, he's. But why isn't he hooping though? Why ain't he hooping? Don't give me this hamstring talk. Don't give me this, and Jay Billis, who's been spitting facts. Jay Billis has been spitting facts. I love Jay Billis. He's been spitting facts for a long time. Right? But I'm gonna say a couple things. I might have some facts. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't like the fact that he's not hooping right now. I don't like it. Whereas Boozer, Boozer is out there trying to get a natty. AJ trying to see if he can bring some prosperity to Utah. He's trying to get a natty. Right? Time and again, we see these guys who have status, they get rankings and they go into hiding to protect their rankings, and they ain't as advertised. You talk about Kyrie had what is Darren Patterson's injury? I don't want anybody to get injured. I haven't seen what he plays this fluid game. He's smooth. He's silky smooth. Right? He reminds me, frankly, of a Reed Shepherd. Bigger version of Reed Shepherd. Whereas everything with him is like textbook. It's almost like you watch Darren Patterson and you can just see the coach on the clipboard just he just plays, under control. This whole right. I wasn't a huge Luka fan. Shows you how much I know. Again, back to Bill Simmons. Made it clear on draft day. Luka Doncic, and I was like, I don't know this kid. He's like, no, Luka Doncic is the best player in the draft by far. Okay, and the Suns are still regretting that pick. Stop it. Sprained ankle, stop it. That's nonsense. Okay, right. I'm still going in the men's league. Am I out there turning the ball over? Is my defensive efficiency horrendous? Yes, all those things are true. But I'm out there in the men's league, still holding on to the glory. I allowed myself to get old. You don't stop playing because you get old. You get old because you stop playing. I allowed myself to get old. Okay. So anytime, all right, Donovan Mitchell. I'm a Donovan Mitchell. I like Donovan Mitchell. Why hasn't Donovan Mitchell brought his Louisville defense to the NBA? That's my thing with Donovan Mitchell. He was a mid, Donovan Mitchell, people have we forgotten Donovan Mitchell? He is no lottery pick. But Donovan Mitchell coming to the NBA tried and true based on whose tutelage? Right? Who got Donovan Mitchell ready to shine in the NBA? Just like who, right? That Patino got him ready as a mid-first round pick to come in day one, ready in Utah, and the rest is history. Same thing, Terry Rozier. Not. So Patino builds up players, develops players like Calipari, builds up players and develops players. Not at the same level because the Don is the Don. Don Calipari is the Don. No better developed, and it's not even close, and you all know it. Even after, and you got anybody can jump in on this if you want. Okay, point taken. You're 100% right. Donovan Mitchell is nice, but Chris, is he a winner? His teams in Utah should have broke through. I'm not gonna go. Donovan Mitchell is a dude. He's a dude. No doubt about it. Okay. I need to see him break through though. I need to see him break through, and we're probably, I don't see. I think there's a symmetry here in this conversation. I'm. How do I say this? The comparison that you make. Yeah. So Darren Patterson, he does a lot of. His game is similar to Donovan Mitchell. His score, he scores because Donovan Mitchell. Yes, he's an all-star. He's I need to see success. I need to see him do it in the postseason, frankly. Right? I look at Jamal Murray. Maybe you look at Jamal Murray differently because Jamal Murray has had postseason success. If we remember in the bubble when we were all cloistered in our domiciles, in that strange world that we were living in only a couple years ago, right? We remember the Utah Jazz was up 3-1 against the Denver Nuggets. And there were some of those playoff series in the bubble. I don't care what anybody has to say. Woo. I'm going to get to your point in a second. Because now okay. I'm going to get to that point in a second, which is serious. Let me just say that we look at Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray differently. They have similar games. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell's not playing with one of the greatest of all time. So but Donovan Mitchell played on really good teams in Utah. He played on really good teams in Utah that didn't break through, that should have broken through and didn't. So I see the Donovan Mitchell comparisons offensively. All right. I think Donovan Mitchell offensively, he takes too many, he's a volume scorer. I think Darren Patterson is much more efficient, frankly, than Donovan Mitchell. The comparison that is made that is SGA. Is SGA. That is I can rock I can rock with both of them. But how just SGA scores on all these different levels, gets to the free throw line, hyper efficient, also hyper collaborative, right? That's a huge strength of SGA's, that he's a team first guy. So, I can see that. Darren, he can handle the ball. He can play the point. He can play off the ball. All right. But again, what I'm standing on business on is a sprained ankle ain't no excuse to miss this college sports journey. And frankly, you know what I mean? People are saying, no, Darren Patterson. To your point, Chris, 43 points tonight. Did Darren Patterson go head-to-head against UConn? Was he even in that UConn game? Like, where are some of these head-to-head matchups that he should be playing in to show? Yeah, no. He's like Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant ain't missing no games for no sprained ankle. No. And why is everybody singing the praises of somebody who ain't? No. So I officially have an issue with this whole Darren Patterson coronation. I need to see it in the tournament. And I stop ducking games. These games matter. This evaluation matters. You are one. Have we talked about Koa Pete for Arizona? Tennessee has a kid. This draft class is loaded with talent. So all this, coronation. Listen, people crown Markelle Fultz. Did they not? Again, did they not? Right? Show me something, Darren Patterson. Where is your 40-point game? Where is your buzzer beater? Okay, I'm getting baller's life stuff from you. You play 20 minutes, you know what I mean, hyper efficient, yada yada. No, give me 45. Play a whole game and get 45 in college. All right, I'm not buying the hype when the grind has been ducked. No. Yes, he's the Don Calipari. Because of, hold on a second, man. Chris, you bringing the heat right now. You bringing the heat. Now, to your point, Chris, I see what you're saying. Everybody know I'm from the great state of New Jersey, so it's well known on SandCity what the love is for the Hurley family. You know what I mean? Would I have been able to play for any of the Hurleys? Probably not, because I talk a good game, but I don't have that zeal that you need to play for the Hurleys. So I'll talk it, and just like Thibs is my favorite coach, Thibs would push me to the absolute limits. I would learn and grow in the process, but Thibs would push me to the absolute limits. Yes, he is the Don. I see your disagreement, but we're gonna understand why he's the Don in 1 second. We're gonna understand why he's this is gonna be a quick conversation. It'll be a quick conversation. But I appreciate this. Okay. Let's get this. No. Wait, hold on. Ooh, that might be a thing if I can. Oh, they don't. Let me see if I can say. Boop, boop. Can I say? I might have hold on. We got to get our production right. We're having a conversation about who's the Don. Or as they say, who the number one Don Dada? Who the number one Don Dada when it come to developing NBA talent? Let me see if I can. Let me see. I gotta try to. Let me see if I can finesse this thing right quick. Ooh, I think I might have found something. Hold up. I think I might have found it. I might. Hold up. Can I? Let me see if I can say boop boop. Can I say? No, that's not the right one. And it's not expanding. All right, I got to get the better image. I got greedy. That's not the right image. I'm going to get the right image. I had it the first time. But then I got greedy. Y'all been eating long enough now. What did DMX tell him? He said, stop being. Let's keep it, you know what I mean? Y'all been eating long enough now. Stop being greedy. Just keep it real, partner. You got to give to the... All right. Let's bring this back. I said... Point taken. Okay, so we're not going to talk about the volume of draft picks. We're going to talk about the volume of draft picks. We're going to talk... Let's talk titles. You said let's talk titles. Let's talk titles when it comes to the Don. We got to talk titles when it comes to the Don. Okay? Okay. Here go one title right here. Yeah? SGA got him a title. There's another one right there. That's two. Huh? Bam? Bam's been to 2 finals. Hasn't got him one yet, but he's been to 2 finals. Cat, when he was under the leadership, right? Okay, but so we got 2 championships just right here. Who's not in this picture? Where's Jamal Murray at? Huh? Where Jamal at? Hey, where Tyler Hero at? That's 2 more finals right there. Tyler Hero, where's he at? Come on now. Can nobody step to the Don when it comes to developing NBA talent, and that includes Coach K. Yes, indeed, it does. Okay, Derrick Rose isn't in this picture. Oh, come on. And again, right? He stopped getting one and dones around this time when he had the team that should have won a national championship, right? Because he won a national championship with AD, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Who's the point guard? I forget the point guard. He has a brother in the NBA. It'll come back to me, right? That's when he won a championship. But this team where Devin Booker came off the bench, that Tyler Ulis was on, that should have been, woulda, coulda, shoulda, lost to Wisconsin. Couple bogus calls down the stretch. It happens. But after this class, that's when he stopped getting one and dones, or the top. Excuse my French. I misstated that. He didn't stop getting one and dones. He stopped getting number 1 overall picks in draft class. So yes, Tyrese Maxey. Was Maxey with SGA in that backcourt? It might have been, because we also, you know who's not pictured here? Where's De'Aaron Fox at? Where's Malik Monk at? Stop it, people. Put some respect on the Don name. Put some respect on the Don name when it comes to developing NBA stars. Hey. Maxey and SGA lost to West Virginia. Was that a Huggins team? That might have been a Huggins team. Is there an excuse? It's not an excuse. So, look, point taken. Calipari is not the best strategist, we'll say. He's had talented teams that have not won in the tournament, fine. But his portfolio of NBA superstars is second to none. Yes. You could, his teams in the tournament, they've had their struggles. I'm furious about how he lost last year after beating St. John's in Providence. That really upset me. That Patino couldn't break through and have a and then he was up big and the other team came back. So he's had his duds in the tournament, right? Right. I did. Yes, sir. He's the Don of developing NBA Superstars. He's not Coach K. Let's make that clear. But his Rolodex of NBA, it's second to none. And I hammer home this point because we can go, right? Should Don Calipari have more than one natty? Yes. Should Jim Boeheim have more than one natty? Yes. If it's in butts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. That's not the point that I'm making here. That he is a Bobby Knight with 3, a Coach K with 5, right? We're not putting him in the luminary camp of college basketball coaches, okay? Right? And by the way, we remember Tom Izzo only has 1 as well. Right? You know what I mean? Some great coaches, the tournament is not for them. The tournament's not for them. I'm calling him the Don because of what we see here. It boggles my mind how he can take these kids and in 1 year, most of the time, these are all one and dones. 1 year, instill enough in them that they go off into the NBA and time and again and again and again and again and again have success. To your point, right? I'm an RJ Barrett guy. I like RJ. Okay, he's good with Toronto. They got 18 small forwards. Yes. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. He's not Coach K. In high leverage situations, his teams don't break through. Now, in terms of the Coach K hold on a second. He's got as many titles as Kevin Ollie. Why did Coach K's team lose in 99? Right? Trajan Langdon, Shane Battier, Elton Brand. Right? Invincible squad. That lost to who? That man Calhoun. Why did Coach K lose in 04? Luol Deng, JJ Redick. Who else is on that 04 team? Chris Duhon. Chris Carrawell might still have been in the mix. Right? Why did Coach K not win that championship? Yeah, he has 5. And frankly, the latter, because he got the 91, 92. He should have got it in 9, then he went cold in the 90s. Coach K had some, right? The team in 98 for Coach K that was up 18 on Kentucky and lost to let Tubby Smith get a natty. Where was Coach K then? And 99, he had a better team and lost again. Didn't get the natty until he had Jay Will, Mike Dunleavy, and Carlos Boozer. Right? So Coach K's let a couple chips slip through his fingers. Okay, but he takes a licking and keeps on ticking. Strong point. Shout out to Lute Olson. Lute Olson was built up Arizona. But Lute ain't got the portfolio. No. Okay, I'll take a Richard Jefferson for 100. I'll take a Gilbert Arenas for 200. I'll take a Damon Stoudemire for 300. Fine. We can go on and on. Lute Olson had talented guys, NBA, guys, that might have got an all-star, These are superstars. Superstar. With Tom Thibodeau, superstar. Right? This is Team USA right here. These guys are this is your team, Canada, right? We're not just talking about like good players, starting players, we're talking superstars. He's the Don. Okay? The Don Dada. Stop it. with one natty. Shout out to Mike Bibby. You know what I mean? Mike Bibby getting Lute his natty that he deserved. Mike Lute had so many. I mean, again, Arizona is such a nice. It's just beautiful. So, I mean, but there's a lot of beautiful places. Sun and everything else. He's not Lute. He's a step above. He's a step above. Okay. Shout out to Coach Cal. Shout out to AJ DeBansa, pride of Brockton. Steve, yeah, U of A, man. Sean Elliott, back in the day. What? Lute built it up from a southwestern cowboy outpost into, a powerhouse. A powerhouse. No doubt. Okay. NBA players, basketball lifers, all right. But all them, they didn't have Team USA like Cal has Team USA. All right. And by the way, also that we need to say, I love how Coach Cal is putting the heat on NCAA to get. I appreciate you, Benito. Appreciate Benito on the Twitter machine. I've been derelict in my Maryland militia attendance, dreaded day chef, no excuses. But I appreciate that, Benito, very much. I love how Coach K has been, this college sports. You gotta get your arms around it. NIL is fine. Players are getting their money. Stop hating, right? Y'all college sports. You're mad. You're just mad, and it's ridiculous. Y'all been out there. Y'all been making it rain for decades. Time immemorial, it's been raining down on the universities, the presidents, the coaches. Y'all all been getting it for so long. Now finally the players get a chance to get some of that rainfall. All right. And you just go into a tantrum and hide and let the whole system go kaput. Ridiculous. Coach Cal has been on it with just some common sense things. You got 5 years to do 4. Get it in, and you know what I mean? 5 years to do 4. Done. Okay? We ain't having 35-year-olds coming back to relive the glory. No. Right? You want to transfer because the coach leaves? One time you can transfer without penalty. Once. Then you want to go? You want to bounce? You're sitting out a year. Period. End story. Common sense. Common sense. And by the way, that is so gracious because you used to have to just sit out on his strength. And you can see the wisdom in that. You can see the wisdom in that because we didn't. So college sports didn't have this musical chairs. Yes, transfer, but you're sitting out. You're gonna have it's gonna cost you something. It's gonna cost you something. You can go, but it's gonna cost you something. This is much more generous. You go once and it doesn't, you can keep playing, which fine. That makes sense, but not 3 and 4 and 5 times, and not until you're 6 years old. What? You got 6 years to get through college? Is it 6 years to get through high school too? Who? We got a 13th and 14th grade in high school now? What? Okay, no. He has the standing. He has the stature. His voice resonates. It's an important topic. Love how Don Calipari has been putting the heat on. Hopefully we get some common sense, some that's necessary. All right. Strong. Hold on. Let me see. Everything is good. Facebook is good. What the heck? Ooh, my man John Starks. I gotta. Hold on. Let me just. Boop. Got a notification. That's good. Come on. I got it. Let's go. My IG. Why are you playing games? All right, we good. Oh, I appreciate. My former teacher stopped by. That means a lot to me. Stop by on the IG to check in briefly. A couple people on the Twitter machine. 100%. Let's go there. Let's go there. Because I saw that we had a marquee matchup. And I thought, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me see here. Can we do, what do we got? Nope. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We coming with this. We coming with this. We got to move to our next topic, right? Want to get this young man, Chris. You talked about him. This young man Crow. This young man Jason Crow. Let's get him up on the screen. He's taking his talents to Mizzou. And in the NIL and the impact that it's having across the board. Okay, so first of all, do I have a problem? There you go, Jason Crow taking his talents to Missouri. Thrilled to have him here in the Commonwealth for the Hoop Hall Classic in Springfield. You know, a must see stop. You know, on the on the high school circuit. You know, we're fortunate to have it here in the Commonwealth, year in and year out. Let me just say this, right? Look, high school sports is in a better place than college. Even as the NIL has come down and you got 8th graders, you know, being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know, to develop those relationships. Now, we know, folks, shout out to Billy Corbin, 30 for 30, broke, right? We know that 6 and 10, if not more, NBA players are in financial distress 5 years after retirement. Okay, so more than half. Based on Sports Illustrated article and then based on just player testimonials. Let's scroll over here. Giving them 40 a game. All right. He's got some connections. Paul Pierce, Josh Hart. All right. Like those names. Good ball players. You know, Pierce, obviously, Celtics is an NBA champion. Josh Hart from my New York Knicks before they decided to upend the prosperity that Thibs had brought. But yeah, he's next up. You know, the Utes, you know, very talented, you know, or we don't know how talented. Let's see them do it in college, but you know, he's in that Team USA of that Team USA echelon. Okay. That, you know, you get in the, you know, playing for Team USA in high school. That is kind of the feeder system for the top college players. And then you go on to the NBA and, you know, those Team USA guys. I heard, thank you, Jason Hart. I saw Judd. Speed reading. Poor grammar, poor semantics. Appreciate the correction. Jason Hart, not Josh Hart. Okay, so now let's discuss NIL. I just said I feel high school is in a better place than college. Why is that? Now, yes, it may. No, first of all, I'm standing on my take that high school is in a better place than college with the NIL. And my position is that, yes, these guys are getting their money. arguably too much money at a young age. But if you're going to give me $100,000 to play high school basketball in my hometown, then why would I leave? Right? Why would I go across the country to take $150,000 from another high school? Right? So the players are getting their money. Right? The pitfall of that much money in your teen years is enormous. If we know that people in their 20s, right, which is when you're coming in your own in the NBA, after having gone to at least some college, people in their 20s cannot handle hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars. All right, talk about it. So we're not seeing these stories, but the stories are there. Point that Chris is bringing to the forefront. I'm saying high school has more stability. Chris just blew that argument out of the water, talking about, and right, you're talking about high school football in Southern California, the DeMathas of the world. There's others. I said DeMatha. Modern day, excuse me. DeMatha's in Maryland. My bad. Okay. Just a list of powerhouses. And so I'm standing on my take, but the information seems to be that the Wild West is now this is antithetical to what I've said. I'm not changing it, but that the Wild West is even wilder in high school where it's under the radar. Okay? It's on the AAU circuit, so to speak, where that's bubbled to the surface. People have, it's quite clear that AAU ran wild, and in many respects, it's still running wild. But in the final analysis, my loss for words? No. There we go. Don Bosco. John Bosco. SoCal Powers. It. Now I got to say, Chris, the point you're making strong, but it's that these schools seem to be in relatively close proximity. Okay, so they're all in LA or the greater, metropolitan area. Does switching schools every semester or every year help anybody? No. But the point you bring up here is that, look, if you are all right. The point you make here resonates deeply with me, right? Because this is the classic Hoop Dreams narrative. We remember Arthur Agee and Will Gates making that trip to St. Joe's, that 3-hour round trip to St. Joe's, that Isaiah Thomas before them made. Shout out to Hoop Dreams. All right, you want to see it rain? Let it rain. Shout out to Bo AG, Mr. Let It Rain man. But that strikes a chord when you look at the commitment and the dedication of the players, the families. This is the story of St. Anthony's, Bobby Hurley, right? Goodness. That's wild. That's wild. Meaning, doggone it, can't this school become a boarding school? You know, some that is wild. Hour and a half, which is essentially from the Cape to Providence, but we don't got that doggone LA traffic. Goodness gracious. You know, it's a heartfelt thing. Is it the only way that I'm right? Because you think, but you know, let's keep it a buck. Got a chance to hear Chris Mullin talk about his journey. Chris Mullin, Brooklyn guy. He tells a similar story. You know, of commuting. You know, at a young age, 13, 14, an hour both ways to go to the school he wanted to go to. So it's not uncommon. Now, obviously, an hour and a half in LA traffic on a daily basis is different. But you hear those stories, and it's real. Yeah. Whether it be St. Anthony's in Jersey City, St. Joe's in Chicago, Santa Margarita in Cali. These sports dreams, they're gonna push you, they're gonna stretch you. Now, that experience of having to go through that is how you get an Isaiah Thomas, how you get a Chris Mullin. Not just extremely talented, but extremely driven. I see your point, Chris. I'm at a different level. That's hoop dreams to me. Now let me preface that, right? Because Hoop Dreams is the 90s classic. I tell people as well, you got to check out At All Costs, which you can find on YouTube, which I found on Netflix. You got to see At All Costs. That talks about, the modern grassroots process. All right? These top players, the Jason Crows, okay, now there's a difference between a 2 or 3 hour round trip commute to get to your school that you need to make it. I'm not at the horrible. Yes, it is stressful. It's stressful. Okay. And, you're talking about kids that have to, at 13, 14, put themselves into adult shoes to pull this off. So it's stressful. I say I come off of the horrible part of it because, and this is what people that commute for a living know, right? All the working class heroes that we have out there that commute, right? You know what it is, right? It puts you in a mindset and in a you gotta, it gives you another level that if you understand it in the correct way and allow yourself to grow through that process, it gives you something other people do not have. You have a hunger, an intensity, a passion, a drive, a fury in your work, in your craft. That's somebody that, works remotely or is 5 minutes away from the job, if they're not mindful, does not have. Unequivocally, undeniably, no two-way, I want this more than you. So when we get out here to take care of Mr. Jason Crow, the business, I'm in a whole nother universe. So you put two talented people, or dare I say, when the person that's commuting and going through the rigors is more talented, it's over. All right? And so, yes, that is how you get a St. Anthony's. Go ahead and check out the street stops here. Yes, we'll get it for you on the screen because we're having this conversation. Okay? But that's my rejoinder for you. Okay? What I think is horrible and stressful is the pressure and the confusion on these kids, these 13, 14, 15-year-olds that have $500,000 in their pocket or are promised a $500,000. Okay? When I was that age, I couldn't manage $50, honestly. Now I'm being a little bit, but seriously. Okay? I got $50, I'm spending 25 on Sour Patch Kids, on a watermelon Sour Patch Kids. You gonna can't what? What's horrendous and mind boggling, to your point about stressful and breaking down, is right. This you can't hand you're not equipped to manage those assets in no way, shape, or form. Even if you were a brainiac, even if you were in your DECA club or your accounting club, or saw yourself going. Ask Grant Hill. By the way, check out Game, his autobiography, which is really good. But Grant Hill talks about the process. And he was a good, obviously, he really good to go to Duke. His dad was an NFL football player. Dad wouldn't let him play football. His mom went to college with Hillary Rodham Clinton. He doesn't have to apologize he doesn't have to apologize for coming from a traditional nuclear family where he had both parents and was supported, encouraged, nourished. You don't have to apologize for that. When you talk about, I Hate Christian Laettner, which is another 30 for 30 outstanding documentary, and how people looked at kids from Duke like they had silver spoons in their mouth, not realizing Christian Laettner's from Buffalo, get out of here. Bobby Hurley Jr.'s from Jersey City, get out of here. You look at them like they're these privileged, preppy kids. You have no idea. That's why you don't judge a book from its cover. Judge a book by its cover, which I did. I thought Bobby Hurley Jr. was this, and I thank goodness for Woj and the Miracle of St. Anthony's. Right, I need to go to apologize for Bobby Hurley Jr., who's one of my favorite coaches, who's struggling at Arizona State University, which makes me sick to my stomach, and he hasn't got his contract renewed. And it's just, I saw a presser with him recently that just hurt my doggone heart in terms of how bad it's going at Arizona State University for Bobby Hurley Jr., who we need at Arizona State University. I say we, my brother graduated from there, my uncle graduated from there. I love him in that situation. It just kills me that it's not going well. As happy as I am for Danny at UConn, which got it rolling, it just frustrates me to no end that the Sun Devils are struggling with Bobby Hurley Jr., who I would want to be there for 20 years as the head coach. Okay? But yes, Bobby Hurley Jr., co-MVP of the McDonald's All-American game with Shaquille O'Neal, playing for his dad at St. Anthony's, arguably the greatest high school basketball team of all time, playing with Terry DeHare and Jimmy Walker, all of whom I believe are All-Americans. Have to go ahead and fact check that. If not, at least Bobby and Terry DeHare. I think Jimmy Walker was an All-American as well. Right? How does this relate to NIL and high school kids? If you were to give Bobby Hurley Jr. an NIL deal with his dad as a coach, then I would feel comfortable that it's going to work out. Because even making $100,000 with NIL, or make it $500,000, right? Because that's what millions of dollars are being thrown to these high school kids. But let's say you give him $500,000 to Bobby Hurley Jr. playing for his dad at St. Anthony's, who just got kicked out of practice yesterday for no reason. Right? Bobby Hurley Sr. talks about, like, he used to kick Bobby Hurley Jr. out for no reason, just because to keep them in the right mindset. He would find a reason to create a scene and throw him out of practice, essentially for nothing. To light a fire in him that just would not go out and has not gone out in the decades since, in him or his brother. But that was the theory that we witnessed today. I'm creating chaos, right, to keep you extremely talented players on edge so that you can continue to grow and get better. Right? So, okay, so you give that kid $500,000. Well, his dad, you know what I mean? Or any of the St. Anthony's guys, $500,000. Right? Bobby Hurley Sr. is going to help that kid and their family to manage those assets so that it's actually generational wealth. By the way, this is what Atope and the Compton Magic do. Okay? Learn a little bit about it when you watch At All Costs, which we'll get up on the screen in a second. Also, check out, this is now Gilbert Arenas has taken over with the arena, and I'm happy for him, right? But if you go back and as Gilbert Arenas was starting out in his podcast journey with Gil's Arena, no, Gil's Arena is what it is called now. It was a different name a couple years ago. I forget what it was. But it was on Fubo TV. And he did an interview with Atope, Compton Magic, at his house, and just talking about the process and all the so on and forth, right? Tope had a bunch of his players there, and they were getting the education. But Atope was like, look, man, Onyeka Okanye, excuse me, playing for the Hawks, Compton Magic guy, along with Evan Mobley, and others. He's like, yeah, and when he was at USC, Tope was there helping him through the process. When he came got his NBA deal, Tope was there and I say helping him because he put him in a mindset to say when he got his NBA contract, you're not spending none of that. You're not touching any of the NBA your contract money. That's all going into your portfolio. You're gonna live off the endorsement deals that you get. That's what you're living off of. You're not touching your NBA money at all. It's going to sit there and grow. So no Beamer, Benz, or Bentley. Okay? No, when the light hit the ice, it twinkle and glisten. You ain't doing none of that. You're living off of the endorsement money, and you're living humbly. You got a condo. It's a nice condo. It's a nice, you got, the flat screens and the PlayStation. It's a nice, you live in very comfortably. But you ain't buying a McMansion with your first NBA contract to throw the soirees, and no, you ain't doing none of that. You're building generational wealth. That's what you're doing. And by the way, handling your business on the court. Not being out to 4 or 5 every single night. No. Okay? And so, right? I'm confident that because he has Tope and he has structure, he's good. Bobby Hurley Jr., you give him that money with Bobby Hurley Sr. and structure, he's good. How about everybody else? How about the kid with the selfish grassroots coach? Right? Go ahead and check out At All Costs. Right? The perfect storm is a single mom with a phenomenal talent and the parent not know anything about basketball. That's what a lot of folks in grassroots hoops would prefer. That's what they're looking for. They prefer. Kid, nuclear family, both parents involved, both parents understanding the process, having education. No. We don't prefer that because we're not in control. We want to be in control to do what we want to do. So to the point Chris makes, what's horrible and stressful is now put that kid, not an adult, a kid. So you're looking for guidance. You're appreciative of people that show an interest. You want to reciprocate. Never mind the fact this person is showing interest for their own self-interest. They're showing interest in you for their own self-interest. If you're 13, 14, 15, have you read Adam Smith, The Wealth of Nations? Have you? Great economic text. Do you realize people work in their self-interest? Foundations for capitalistic economies and societies? Appreciate you, bro, jumping in. No, you don't. You feel beholden, even though you shouldn't. For you coaches out there and you mentors and you parents, are my students beholden to me because they enjoyed my class? No, the point is to have a good class so you can go on to your future success. That's the point. You don't owe me nothing. The point is, I had great teachers. I had great coaches. I had great support in my family. So I want to give back. It belongs to you. Now go have success. What do I want from you? To have success. Goodbye. That's people that's doing it for the right reasons. Right? How many is not doing it for the right reasons? And now you throw your $500,000 in the mix. That's horrible. That's stressful. Okay? Because that's going right to the place where, right, what is it? 70% of people that win the lottery end up broke? Never mind, the state's already taken half of that money. Right? We done took the numbers game because numbers used to be illegal. No, the government got it now. It's completely legal. It's good for society. Yeah, it's gonna help us with all these things. Yeah, the numbers is good now. When y'all had it, it was immoral. Now the government has it. Oh, couldn't be better. But when you hit that mega, you know what I mean? Government come through. Y'all won the Mega Million. What's going on, partner? Congratulations. Let me get that half. Let me get that 40% right on the top. What Cam say? We ain't going to negotiate you. My man Cam Newton in that 4th and 1, Cam said, we ain't finna negotiate you neither. I need that manyan. I need that manyan. That's what I need right now. Let me get it. I need that manyan. When you hit that lotto, you feeling good, Uncle Sam? We good. You say we? All right. No, we, bro. We, I'm your partner. You ain't know? You ain't heard about me? But I won the Powerball. No. We won Powerball. You didn't. We won the Powerball. Let me get that money on. Let me get that money on. But ain't no buts. I ain't negotiating. This ain't a conversation. Give me that 40%, bro, and be on about your business. So you already look around like what? I thought. No. That's mine's. Don't make no thing now. Don't make no thing. What they saying, hoop dreams. Don't make no thing now. Can't be on about your business now. So your pocket's already running light to start with. And then what? Speaking of the shy, Antoine Walker, they was talking about him taking care of 75 people. Stephon Marbury, before he went to China, now he's in China, he's doing well. He was taking care of 25 people, he was saying. I take care of 25 people. 25 people? What? And everybody wanting more. Everybody feeling like they got that black card. Hey, we got money. We got money? We got money? You the one out here taking these lumps, practicing at, you know what I mean, flying, crisscrossing the country. We? Oh! Chris, you want it tonight, man. You want it, my man. Yeah, we're gonna dive into the Oscars. We're gonna say we in the building right now, folks. We in the building. Stop that. What is it? It's only 8 on the left coast, so y'all is good. And we out here in New England, so we got this snowstorm coming in. So we already, your boy got another 3-day. Got another, but y'all remember what happened? Like y'all do remember because I was with you for the NFC Championship game, and the power kept going out in your boy till it finally just went out. So I was in a situation. So we got to keep the power going on. I can't have no disruption. SandCity, we're gonna try to be. We're gonna be for the AFC Championship and the NFC. We're gonna be in the building. We're gonna be in the building. But Chris, bringing the marinara. Yes, we're gonna talk about the Oscars. Shout out to Sinners. Haven't seen it. Yeah, y'all good, man. Y'all 75 on the left coast. Y'all living good. We got this. Woo! Hold on now. So yeah, we got a lot to get to. We're gonna go into culture, so on and forth, right? We're gonna go into a lot of different things, but y'all just gotta understand Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In terms of what we are, what we're dealing with. As we move forward, let's get it. Let's get it on to the. You know what I mean, so people can understand. You know what I mean, and having friends out there on the left coast, I got a lot of appreciation. You know, and I got friends, I got family in the Southwest. They've been checking on your boy. They've been checking on your boy. I'm glad you're good over here. We are gonna get to the coaching carousel. We're gonna get to the coaching carousel. We're gonna get to Mike McCarthy getting Steelers. We're gonna get to the coaching carousel. This is what the odd couple. We don't play a hate. We congratulate. The odd couple's been on this strong. They've been on it really strong this week. So I've been tuning in. Shout out to Rob G. Shout out to Calvin and Rob Park. Go check them out on the YouTube. Got the YouTube channel going. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that very much so. But just real quick, folks. Just real quick, folks. Just so you understand, I'm happy for everybody that's on the sunshine. But when they said, what's the forecast, right? What's the forecast for Cape Cod? That's what they said right there. Turn on the news. What's the forecast for Cape Cod, Massachusetts? That's what they said. They said that thing brick. The forecast, right? It is brick outside. Right, and this is I've been in the Northeast my whole life, so don't get it twisted. I'm not new. I'm not new. Winter and cold is not new to me. Stop that. Okay. But this is some different type of cold. Like it is like 12, 13 degrees. It's cold out there. All right, and the snow's fitting to come in tomorrow. Like this is that. Get your bundle. Right? Put your socks on, put the other socks on, put the next socks on, then put your thermal socks on. Okay? Right? Don't mess around in no tennis shoes. Don't mess around in no, if I can never, it always boggles my mind. I was in Home Depot trying to get an extra flashlight, sold out. No, stop that. Stop that. Them joints is sold out. That's a good question, Chris, man. If you're not from, like, okay, what we say in the Northeast, like when I say we, this is something I borrow from my New Yorkers, my people from NYC. They say, like, what's the temperature outside? And you just say, it's brick. The temperature, it is brick cold. The temperature is brick. That's something I picked up when I was in college at Nyack, my New York City people. What's the temperature? Because, I was fortunate, went to a great school, Nyack College in New York. Wonderful school, small Christian college, wonderful. Had a great experience. I went to basketball camp there as a kid. Met people from all over the world, different backgrounds, different perspectives. It was outstanding. So very fortunate to have that experience. Shout out to Nyack College. It's just great. But Nyack in New York, it's right on the Hudson River. Right on the Hudson River, like literally. So, now it's Hudson River is not the, you know what I mean? But you get that wind coming off the water. Woo, I remember. Oh, I had to bundle up. But this is kind of I said, so what's the forecast? The forecast is brick. It is brick. It's freezing. And you don't want to. I mean, because I had one of my good buddies in college. He's from South Carolina. My man B Mills. And he ended up transferring back to South Carolina. He's like, man, I can't. I'm talking to my friends and they're all outside hanging out, and it's warm and I'm in here freezing. He's like, I had to head back. So it's cold. New York, obviously Massachusetts is a little bit more north. Obviously, you go, New Hampshire, Maine, a little bit more, and then you get into Canada. So you're just going to get progressively more and more. I preface that to say, a colleague of mine, is from Buffalo, and so upstate New York, that Great Lake wind effect, and he was just breaking it down. That's a whole nother level. On this point, I do need to. So brick, that's what brick means. It's freezing. Let me see. Quick. Yeah, man. Just quickly on this point of perspective. Not that I want any of this smoke. I don't want any of this smoke. So that's brick. You know what I mean? And we're gonna move on. We got to dive in. Chris, you bring up a really good point. We got to dive into the NFL coaches. We're gonna dive into that conversation next. Lot to get to, and we're rolling right now. Then we'll do a little bit of because I do have different days. I don't have a day for Saturday, right? But every day has a day, right? So brick means freezing cold. We're back now. You Can't Hurt Me Mondays. David Goggins. Shout out to David Goggins. Tyler Durden Tuesdays. Fight Club. You know what time it is. Herbie Derby Wednesdays. My grandfather. Born in rural Georgia during the Great Depression. Served in World War II. Grandfather lived to be 99. Lost him last year. So always keep him, family, just in general. Right? We want to remember those and lift those up that have had a tremendous impact on our life. So we got Herbie Derby Wednesdays. We got Goodwill Hunting Thursdays. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck. Goodwill Hunting Thursdays. Forget About It Fridays. Okay, my appreciation for cinema, Italian-American cinema, culture, so on and forth. Don't have something for Saturdays. Sanctified Sundays. Just talking about the gratitude, the thankfulness, the appreciation that I have in my life. So different, and it vexes me when I'm not able to get on, and I miss one of these days. But I want to just kind of at least go through a little bit of that. But just staying quickly in terms of the culture, and yes, it's brick cold. It's that real cold. Not sure if you guys out there in television land saw this. There's a town in Russia where they got so much snow, like the snow went up like 2 stories on their buildings. One of these cities in Russia that's located in Siberia, where they're just built different, right? That this is now this is not normal, right? It's not normal to have a snow drip, like snow accumulate up 20 plus feet. This is not normal. But again, when I say use these words like brick, brick is just something that I borrowed, as I said, and it just makes a lot of sense, and it just puts you in a mindset. There's cold, and then there's different types of cold, right? There's you know what I mean? So, right, where I gotta, it takes some of the anger, some of the frustration, some of the envy, resentment, all that stuff. When I get into that cold, I just be like, God help me. Like this is something different. That takes some of the edge, some of the ingratitude, whatever the case may be. You get. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like this, Like winter is winter. It is, but today is just it's different. It's different. It's a different type of cold out there. But this city in Russia, my thing is that it's in Siberia. Even though Russia's a huge country, I don't think that this was in the east. Excuse me, in the west of Russia. Like Moscow going west. I think that this occurred out in the east. And this like folks is just like, all right, so we gonna handle it and keep it moving. Reminds me, as I said, gentleman that I work with from Buffalo, he's talking about, yeah, man, like when it snows here, like we do but we need front end loaders. We need heavy machinery to pile the snow. Like the snow drifts are 10 feet high. Okay, that's normal. That ain't normal for your boy, but that's normal in Below. So hey, give me perspective. I can't rock with you on that, man. I got to retreat. I got to retreat. All right, folks, we got to discuss the NFL coaching carousel. And yeah, man, we gotta discuss what's going on. And let's start with, to me, the most notable hire. Okay. So we're going to start in the Steel City. We're going to start in the Steel City. And let that frame this conversation about NFL coaches and about representation, about opportunity. All right, let's get it going. Has the Rooney Rule failed? Appropriate. Does the Rooney Rule matter? Right? Has it failed? Does it matter? Based on the Mike McCarthy hiring in the Steel City. First of all, I think Mike McCarthy's a good coach. He's a coach that's won a Super Bowl, right? And a coach that has had notable bandwidth. Okay. His run in Green Bay, he's there. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He got, he had a good stretch in Green Bay. He goes to the Cowboys, where everybody knows you're not the decision maker. You are the facilitator in Dallas for the decision maker. But we know that in Dallas, you're not the decision maker. Right? That is a one Mr. Jerry Jones in Dallas. Okay. Let me just, again, we having a conversation relative to lighting. Just got to adjust one of my lights right quick. Bring it up. But there we go. All right. We got to just make sure things are where they need to be. I think that's a little bit better. As I come back into the scene. Yeah. I think, you know what I mean? Mike is, he's a solid coach. He's a solid coach. But my question is, The Steelers, they like their coaches to be there for 15 plus years. Right? They've had 3 coaches in the last, Tomlin, 19 years. Cowher, 15, 16 years. Let's say 15, right? So we're at 34. Chuck Noll, 22. So 3 coaches in about the last 60 years. Mike Tomlin is not a spring chicken. Okay? So that's I think he's a fit for the Steelers. Coming from Green Bay, another North Division. He's an offensive guy, knows, not necessarily an offensive guru, but he's an offensive coach. He's solid. Mike McCarthy, I'm not seeing the transcendence for me. Right? Like, what is he? He won a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers when the Packers were rolling. Okay? And so he's a Super Bowl winning coach. I get that. He's not, I don't see him like a Kyle Shanahan who hasn't won a Super Bowl, but seems to always be in or near Super Bowls. Right? Or even Andy Reid when he was with Philadelphia, who was consistently on the doorstep of the Super Bowl. And then he comes to Kansas City, gets his quarterback, and the rest is history. So that's my, I think Mike McCarthy can be a solid coach in Pittsburgh for the next 5 years, bring in his system, have stability. I'm just really uncertain. The Steelers seem to value stability more than striking it rich, going for broke, which the Packers did this year and may have succeeded in had Micah Parsons been healthy. Like in 3 years, with the moves the Steelers will make, are they going to return to the serious championship conversation where they were during the Bruce Cowher, Bill Cowher years and in the early Mike Tomlin years, which is another interesting point. Mike Tomlin had his success toward the beginning of his career, with players that, have been brought in the previous regime. Right? Mike McCarthy, he's going to come in. Obviously, has to get the quarterback straightened out, instill his offense, which, he knows how to. That's his side of the ball. They have they're a defensive-minded organization, steel curtain, so on and forth. Long story not so long. I'm looking at Mike McCarthy being with the Steelers. I'm not as enthusiastic or confident that he will turn that, organization around. Now that they made the playoffs, so but they haven't won a playoff game or been to an AFC Championship game, right? In how long? Okay. I feel more momentum and enthusiasm surrounding Harbaugh going to the Giants, who, in fairness, are much worse off than the Steelers, than I do with Mike McCarthy going to the Steelers, okay, as a accelerant. He's not a finisher because they don't seem to be on the cusp of a Super Bowl. But can he win a playoff game? Right? So, right, Mike McCarthy going to the Steelers is a lot like Mike Brown going to the Knicks. Okay, and we'll discuss that situation shortly. Okay, all right. He doesn't strike me as altogether different than Mike Tomlin. They're coaches. They motivate. They provide structure. Mike McCarthy reminds me, and what I'm saying is, I'm watching the Buccaneers. I'm watching the Bucks game last night as they struggled with the Nuggets. After which Giannis set him out. Giannis, I'll see you in a month and a half. I can't be. This is not, you're going to struggle with a team without, and they didn't have Jamal Murray either, or Christian Braun, or Cam Johnson. It was like the Nuggets had nobody, and built up leads against that Bucks team. Right? Doc Rivers is, now I have to choose my adjectives wisely here, is an efficient coach. He's very efficient at creating structure, order, direction. Doc Rivers does an outstanding job getting through the stars. He can get through to stars. He's not going to be big time by anybody. While, being able to establish a relationship and a decorum. Yes, you are a star in this modern NBA where stars have all these privileges and, you know what I mean? And you can, right? Everybody now that's a star is on LeBron James level, and can juggle and navigate all the things that LeBron James has. Yes, we will be discussing the Lakers over the course of his career successfully in terms of longevity, winning. Now, he hasn't won as many championships, as we know that. But, LeBron has been in the conversation right on the entire career while having oversight of this, a say in that, so on and forth. And that's my point, Chris. I don't think this. Since when do the Steelers do stopgaps? The Steelers do 20-year runs. That's why this is right. I'm looking for Marcus Freeman to be the next coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's what I'm looking for. The young, confident, and you could say Mike Tomlin was a similar way when he got the job. I don't know if Mike Tomlin had, now again, it's apples and oranges because Freeman's in college and the NFL is a whole nother entity. But I feel like the Steelers job, that's a young man's, right? And this may signal the changing of the guard, in their hierarchy, meaning, the Rooney family. Are the Steelers now going to have 3 coaches in 10 years? I hope not. Mike, he's not, I'm not saying this guy, like, he's not an older guy. What are you, in his 40s? He's in his 50s. Now, again, are you going to coach into your 70s? You can. I don't think the Steelers believe in tanking. I don't believe in tanking. So no. Right? The Miami Heat don't believe in tanking. Right? And this whole, they've been to 2 NBA finals as an 8 seed. I'm not sure if they were 8 seed in the bubble. But at least, when they embarrassed the Celtics. So Steel City, we don't tank. They don't tank. They also don't make the second round of the playoffs. The Steelers are the Cowboys with principles. Right? I'm a Mike Tomlin guy. I like, respect, the the culture of the Steelers, that, we're going to do things, we're going to be gritty, we're going to be blue collar, so on and forth. I'm just stunned that this team has not been in the conversation for well over a decade while having, institutional structure, strength. The Steelers have been an afterthought. They're not contenders, right? The Cowboys are a highly entertaining afterthought. And, has a lot to do with, big man on campus that has to have things my way. And so there you go. Jimmy, you can go. All right. Losing, you can stay. All right. Just that simple. Right? The Steelers aren't losers, but they're not winners either. So that they go about things the right way. I get that. And nonetheless, they have not been in the mix. Not to, right? It's not that you win or lose. It's how you win or lose. They haven't been in the mix. Like, even getting into these divisional playoff games and losing close. So, interesting to hear the Steeler fandom, what they think Mike McCarthy is going to do to change that. Because in the Commonwealth, it's happened so fast. People, we're just like Super Bowl. The Patriots have gone from cesspool to Super Bowl. Yes, that is the scope. No hot take there. That's an empirical, fact-based, clearly evident take. Cesspool. Gerard Mayo was fired before, the game hadn't even ended. Fired. Okay? Like, absolute animus. Acrimony. I don't know. I just, right? The situation was getting, no, it wasn't getting. It was ugly. Around this time last year in New England, which has been swept under the rug to the farthest point, and because in a snap of a finger, Patriots are on the verge of a Super Bowl. Now, right, a couple of things, right? Nico Collins, CJ Stroud doesn't have a number one receiver. Is that excuse for all the turnovers? No, but they're down a huge piece. Obviously, the Broncos are down a huge piece. Patriots going into this game as favorites. It's a huge trap game. They have to go out there and smack these guys silly. They can't let them get confidence because they know all the pressure is going to flip back on them. Patriots have played well under pressure this year. Even, they don't have a strong strength of schedule, that's clear, but they are a together group. Now, we'll see when that's really, really tested. Okay? But cesspool to Super Bowl. Okay? In a year. So for Mike McCarthy, the Steelers are no cesspool, right? They're the opposite of that. There's a symmetry. There is a sense of togetherness, history, purpose, all the rest of that stuff. Minus the winning. I hope he's able to do it. Like to see the Steelers in, I think it's just good for the NFL to see, we want to have those games and look back on Franco Harris and the Steel Curtain. And, that's all good stuff. We just need the Steelers to be good in order for it to happen. All right. So let me fix back because I'm hold on. Stop sharing. Yeah, I gotta fix back the lighting. It's got a little too dark in here, so we're gonna fix that back. But to the point about black coaches not being hired. Let's take a look. Coaching. This is last year. All right, so let's discuss. Going to straighten out some lighting, and then we're going to discuss. I need to do that. Bang, bang. This one's not working. All right, so I'm going to have to come. Okay, so I'm going to have to. That's not working. I did get my art, though. So we're going to have to do what we do. Then we're going to check around. Apologize for now. I got to check around and see how my people are doing on the socials. We're going to get the lighting right. Then we're going to check on our socials. SandCity Sports. Passion Project. Appreciate you rocking with us. All right, we got a better opportunity. So let's go here. Let's go there. Appreciate you. You can go for now. Come back over here. And let's talk coaching carousel. Step up the production game. No. I can't see Bill Belichick failing upwards in this case. Really good question. No. All right, and we'll begin, Chris, again, framing the conversation. We'll begin with that in terms of Bill Belichick and what he's owed and what he's not owed. First of all, let me just. We got to get the sharing is caring. We got to get the sharing is caring. Let me just take a second. I had the lighting go one way. And it's got to go another way. We got to get it right. We got to get it right. We got to get it right. Hey. All right. So we back. Our lighting is back the way that it needs to be. Chris, really good point. No. Bill Belichick ain't a finalist for the Bills job. Not at all. Let's check around and see what's going on. Appreciate folks. Yeah, we still here on the socials. That's rocking with us. Okay, a couple people on IG. Some folks here and there on Twitter. Me Casa, Sue Casa. Come on in and jump in the conversation. You're welcome. More than welcome. SandCity Sports, Cape Cod Kid, by, for the fans. Let's go. No. Bill, you can't act a fool. Wild out. Throw caution to the wind. And then slide right back in and be the indispensable man. Right? the epicenter, the leader of men. In the last year, by the way, 10 degrees, woo, cold. Bill Belichick has upended, cast down, stomped out, besmirched the ethos that he was known for, the Patriot way. Do your job. We don't talk to the media. No bulletin board material. Right? Reps, reps, reps. Okay, he wants to be a celebrity owner with a dumpster fire team in his brand new 2 point whatever billion dollar arena. No. To your point, I'm not saying no to your argument, which I think is valid. He does want to be a celebrity. At the same time, he wants that arena filled with not just fans, but meaningful games. Okay? I'm not the Sean McDermott firing for me. Okay, I didn't rock with it. Did Josh Allen play a horrible game? Yes, he did. Is everything on the refs? No, it's not. But there were critical calls in that game that swung the game. You had a jump ball. You had a held ball. Two players had their hands on the ball. Tie goes to the receiver. It's ruled an interception. It's ruled an interception. It's not even reviewed. That's wild. If that's a catch, the Bills have a chance for a field goal to win the game. Right? So, Minter, Harbaugh guy. Okay. McCarthy, we know, known commodity. Clint Kubiak, is this the son? Am I mistaking? Because Kubiak, right? The son of Chuck Kubiak. Right? Look, these younger, innovative coaches. Listen, had Bill Belichick continued to be himself and not turned into the alter ego of Bill Belichick, right? Then he would be in this conversation. Or if Bill Belichick had just taken another year off and gone into hiding, right? Had Bill Belichick laid low since he left the Patriots, stopped his feud with Robert Kraft, gotten back in the lab, seen how the game is changing, unburdened himself from the 4 years post Brady, which were tumultuous and at times embarrassing. Had Bill Belichick followed the script that he penned, which led to 6 Super Bowls, over the last 2 years, then he would be the leading candidate for all of these jobs, particularly the Buffalo Bills job. Had Bill Belichick decided to continue as Bill Belichick. The only thing is, for the last year plus, for everybody to see, Bill has gone buck wild. And look, adults have the right to be adults. He has the right to cohabitate with whoever he wants to cohabitate with. But what the heck is this on social media of him with his feet in the air and his girlfriend, like she's in Titanic or something? What are we doing? I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, what is he doing? Man, out here like Aladdin with Jasmine on a magic carpet. This is Bill Belichick. Like, that would be wild if it was whoever. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May. If they would be putting out that stuff from their personal life just for everybody to consume, like, what are you doing? You can be the man. You can have a celebrity. We don't need to hear about this. Did you see Tom Brady acting like that when he's married to arguably the most attractive woman on the face of the earth? Is he putting out these mushy, sentimental? He has a right to live his best life. Why do I need to know about it? Why does society need to know about it? You obviously live a privileged, jet-set life. The point is, he's made a point to throw that in everybody's face for a year. You don't think he understands, he recognizes the ramifications of how he's behaving? Having your girlfriend on a sideline, she is now your chief assistant. She's the consigliere. It could be, he could be dating somebody who is a football whiz. Right? That's not the point. Your spouse does not belong in a position of authority within your football organization. It makes no sense. It has no precedent. Who else does that or has done that or gotten away with that or even thought that they could even, right? Or even thought in their mind that it would be something that could pass. Right? Why go to North Carolina in the first place? You're not Nick Saban. You're not Bobby Bowden. Ryan, you're an NFL coach. Why would you take that job in the first place? Okay, we know that Steve Spurrier went from the NFL, went back, wanted to, and then came back. Like, all right, Steve Spurrier wasn't a handful of wins away from the all-time record. That's Bill Belichick. That's a handful of wins away. Excuse me. You didn't get hired in the previous coaching cycle. There were legitimate questions about how you coach currently because the 4 years after Brady, 3 of them were abhorrent, atrocious, outlandish. The first year made the playoffs. It was pretty good. You got defensive coordinators and special teams coaches trying to run your offense. You see what Mac Jones did in San Francisco that wanted to draft him to begin with. Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones. You see who Mac Jones could be. Forget about Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. If Mac Jones was drafted by the 49ers and got a chance to work with Kyle Shanahan from day one, yes, you know what I'm thinking. Okay? He's a Super Bowl quarterback. Maybe not a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but he's a Super Bowl quarterback. Okay? That got nixed because they wanted to go with the new hotness that amounted to nothing. So Mac Jones finds himself back in San Francisco after his odyssey, having a, and then let's think about it. Mac Jones looks like the one that's out of pocket for lifting up his voice and saying this is crazy. But at the time, we're saying you can't question Bill Belichick. Obviously, Matt Patricia and Joe Judge have some sort of insight into because Bill Belichick said they did, so it must be so. Now you take a step back and you're like, how could we ever believe that to be? But if Bill said it, then, you just believe that it had some credibility. You're looking back and you're like, this man was a lunatic. And since the Patriots' divorce has been finalized, angrily finalized, he's only turned up even more. So he leaves a team in disarray with a whole bunch of, right, frayed relationships. Checking my Twitter here. Let me get back to my right. It's taking me. Shout out to Coach Pop. It's good to see him at the game. Okay, we're going to talk about black coaches in the NFL. No. Belichick does not deserve serious consideration, any consideration for these coaching vacancies. Currently. Which is unfortunate. All right? To me. And then that kind of leads into, the conversation about black coaches in the NFL and kind of why we're having this conversation, right? Right? It should be about merit. Race is not the most important factor. It's about competency. This is the most profitable sports league. Can't say in the world, can't say that confidently because we know what soccer is globally, but by far in America, most popular sports league by far in America, right? 4 and 5 of the players are of African American descent. And so this question about leadership, is that a role African Americans can have and be successful? We know the answer is yes, right? It's interesting talking to my old man, my pops. Graduated high school in the late 70s. The presiding wisdom in that era was that African Americans couldn't be quarterbacks, right? And it was just the subtle, insidious aggressive, destructive thinking along racial lines that denied how many people an opportunity. I just remember, now just talking about, my dad was talking about how my uncle was a good quarterback and should have been the quarterback. Could have been the quarterback, I'll say, because I wasn't there. I don't really know. But right? But African Americans, in that time, they're not quarterbacks. They don't play quarterback. And then, that, so how wrong was that thinking? And then you push that forward all the way up to Lamar Jackson. No doubt. Dive into baseball. That's a good point, Chris. Y'all know how big of a Cape League fan I am. Got to lock in with MLB, bro. Shout out to Rob Parker. So yes, baseball. Got to do a better job there. And we'll discuss. I'm so excited for the challenge that we have in baseball. You bring that up. It's huge, and baseball has turned things around. The pitch clock and making the action more consistent. Out of this world. I don't like the bags being bigger. That we don't need. We didn't need that. The runner starting on second needs to be in the 11th inning versus the 10th inning. We need one more inning of actual baseball. But the automatic ball strike system, being able to challenge third strikes, is revolutionary. And who cares if it takes longer? Because they're going to get it right. And these umpires, I'm a referee, get it right. Or get somebody else in there, period. So that's long overdue. It's going to be a game changer for the better. We're going to get those calls right, keep those managers in games, which is crazy to me that people – it's just amazing in baseball. Like when you – I remember a buddy of mine in high school says, baseball is 90% mental. The other 50% is physical. You talk about, baseball folks talk about Babe Ruth could read a license plate from a block away. His eyesight was, these guys' reflexes and perception. They're just. But I say all that to say, how a manager who's sitting at an angle in a dugout can tell that a ball is a strike or a ball, from. And this is just baseball people kind of understand this. To me, it's just wild. Like, how the heck can you tell with accuracy from the angle that you're at? Like, unless like they're watching the game on a TV screen, like they have, but that's pivotal. And other sports leagues have had these challenges for well over a decade, so it's past time for baseball, but game changer. So we'll discuss baseball. Yeah. I think it's first of all, it makes you want the best athletes playing your game. Not that the best athletes are all African Americans, but just period. And baseball, it's right. It's still the national pastime, historically. And what I'm trying to say is that, I think you do have more people of color playing baseball in the warmer environments. Like, it's tough to play baseball. You got to love baseball to play in the Northeast. You got to love it, right? When the seasons, because the baseball starts in March, so our spring sports start there's still snow on the ground. Like for the spring athletes, the rugged ones, because they ain't me. But the lacrosse players, the baseball players, softball players, they're starting the season. Like, it is cold outside. It's cold. It's 45, 50. It's cold outside, just like it is in October when the season ends. So you get into April, okay, and then like it doesn't get. They really have to go through 2 months of cold, of lacking warmth, before you get into the good times when I will go to a game, which is mid-March forward. right? Mid-March, that's, as it's brick cold right now, I'm looking at it, 10 degrees outside. What I think about in the summer, going to the Cape, is like I think about these times now when it's just frigid and it's just out of control. And just to appreciate, and of course I live in tourist town, so there's a lot going on, but there's a lot going on in a lot of places when it's nice outside. So, yeah, it's regional. I think you get more numbers where you can play more baseball. And then just I think you got a lot of multiple sport athletes. Like you got a lot of guys that are football, basketball, baseball players, and convince them to play baseball. You're carrying, no salary cap, and just the longevity. Okay, you're a football player. Average NFL career is less than 4 years. Average NBA career is like 7 years. You play baseball for 20 years, right? Play it for 20 years, make a boatload of money. A lot of games, but much easier on your body. So we're going to get more. That's a good point. To consult with, got to check in with MLB bro. Shout out to the Yacht Couple. Shout out to Rob Parker. And step my base. But there's no lack of love for baseball, even though I couldn't hit the curve. No lack of love. All right. NFL, listen. Let's just be clear on this. We ain't asking, looking for no shorts. We ain't looking for no handouts when we have this conversation relative to minority hiring. Right. And the conversation does not need to be, right? You don't want to put people on their heels, make people feel uncomfortable. That's not what we're talking about. Okay? Because all the, John Harbaugh's a heck of a coach. White, black, yellow, green, orange, that man can coach. Okay? Conversations surrounding coaches of color, for me, as a person of color, working in professional spaces, relates to the data showing. Now, what does it relate to? And I'm trying to say this in the correct way. It's that capable and deserving coaches of color are not received as enthusiastically as capable, ascending coaches from the dominant culture or white coaches. How do I mean? Right? Sean McVay, young, and it worked out. And now you get, Sean McVay assistants and all right. So that's great. But for me, where's Marcus Freeman at? Okay. Point taken, Byron Leftwich. I'm like, Marcus Freeman is this young, capable coach. I know he's a college coach. A couple of NFL teams showed interest. He went back to Notre Dame, right? But if you put forward the Godfather offer, Marcus Freeman is coming to the NFL. If that Steelers job, if the Steelers wanted him, he would have gone. Thank you, but no thank you, Notre Dame. I'm going to coach the Steelers for the next 20 years. Right? Brad Stevens was going to stay at Butler for another decade plus. Brad Stevens made him an offer. He couldn't refuse. He left Butler. Okay? So the point relative to coaches of color is that, okay, Kevin Stefanski, another opportunity. Rob Saleh, coach of color, another opportunity. Right? So D'Amico Ryans is one of these guys. If Mike McCarthy, another opportunity. Okay? We're going to give these other coaches who happen to be white second and third chances, then give the coaches who are African American second and third chances to get it right. Okay. You talk about it's about parity. And when I'm a Robert Saleh fan, right? With the Jets, if you bring in Aaron Rodgers, the first year it ends before it even starts, and the second year, look, Aaron Rodgers is he walks to the beat of his own drum to put it lightly. Okay, he walks to the beat of his own drum, so that adds another layer. If Saleh had a game managing Joe Flacco type of a quarterback, like when the Ravens won it, I think those Jets teams could have grown and been competitive. So I'm a fan of Saleh. And people in Tennessee, I've said this, they're kind of, why do we let Mike Vrabel go? I don't know. All right. Don't know why you did it. You are where you are. Okay. Saleh goes in there, brings some stability. He's obviously a defensive guy. Get that defense rocking and rolling. And, get your offense, get an OC that can run the offense. Yeah. All right. Wonderful. That's great. How many coaches has Jerry Jones had since Jimmy Johnson left? It's up there. I don't recall Jerry Jones hiring an African American coach. All right, so I'm glad with this hire. Do I think this hire can become the Dallas Cowboys head coach? No. All right. I don't recall Jerry ever hiring an African American head coach, which is at the center of this conversation relative to African American head coaches. How can an organization that's always hiring head coaches, okay. So you had, and Jerry will hold on to guys. Jason Garrett was there for a while, okay, because he's a yes man. But you got Switzer in there, you got Bill Parcells is in there for a minute, right? He's hired coaches since he stopped caring about winning. None of whom happen to be African American or people of color. And that's the nail on the head right there for me. Right. So he gets the opportunity in Dallas. He gets it rolling in Dallas. How far will they allow it to go in Dallas? Because Jerry has to have the final say on everything. We probably know the answer to that. But he gets to showcase his work, and so that then he's the he's in line for the next opportunity, right? The list goes on and on and on. Good gets there. Along with the conversation relative to African American coaches, all right, so this 34-year-old coach hits it out of the ballpark. He gets, an NFL head coaching opportunity, and the narrative is, so you're not going to go to a good team, and you're not going to be given much leeway, right? Jimmy Johnson was 1-15 in his first year in Dallas, right? It's going to take 3 to 4 years to get you there. We see Sean Payton's program in Denver, right? And now you talk about, okay, Brian Flores should have got a job. He's suing the NFL. Well, you can't expect to sue people and still get a job with those same people. The basis of the lawsuit is what we're talking about right now. Point one, all these retreads. Why don't you see African-American retreads? If that's a thing, if the NFL is of the same mindset as Hollywood in terms of sequels and, 3 and what is it, Fast and Furious 11, you love to take a concept and just keep spinning it out again and again and again and again. Why does that not apply to these African-American coaches? Point one. Point two, right? No bandwidth. I think about Steve Wilkes in Arizona. Come on, 1 year gone and hasn't got another opportunity. And had the Carolina Panthers playing well when Matt Rule, right, went south. And again, no. Right? Aaron Glenn's of the world. I know it's the Jets and they're the Jets. But give him 4 or 5 years with the Jets. Cliff Kingsbury with the Cardinals got what, 4, 5, 6, 7 years after the fast start? Give him the time. Okay? When you stack these things up, and let's come back to it. This is not about making any particular group feel uncomfortable or underhanded or any of that. Okay? It's putting forth the narrative so that, first of all, it's clear that there is a narrative here. Just when you bring up conversations of race, yes, it's going to get defensive. It's going to get, all right. But that does not mean because there is a difficulty in the conversation does not mean that there's not validity in the conversation. All right. And let's, again, put the nail on the head here. If you can't put respect on Tom Thibodeau's name, that's my coach. He happens to be white. That's my coach. And anybody saying that because he didn't play Division I or because he's not, a former, I got a huge problem with that. If people coming from my background, my community, want to put that stuff out there, then you're going to have a problem with me. Oh, well, you're Uncle Tom and out here. You know what I mean? You boot licking out here. You cooning out here. And no. Now, you can say all that. And again, hey, do I need to write an op-ed in the New York Times like Grant Hill did? Because the folks from Michigan wanted to look at him as an Uncle Tom for what? Right? Now we got the offense on the other side, which, hey, you want to talk about a conversation that's been going on in the African-American community since time immemorial? Let's have at it. I know it quite well. But the point to be made here is that, the Michigan, Duke, Jalen Rose, Fab Five, Grant Hill situation, okay. But what I'm saying is that when there is disrespect in a different community, in the white community, in our sports society, right? You're going to get people saying, that's not right, hold up. Chris Mullin belonged on the Dream Team. Could have started on the Dream Team. Absolute baller. You know my take on John Stockton. All-time leader in assists, all-time leader in steals. Needs to be higher up the all-time conversation. Does that make him better than Magic Johnson? Does that make him better than Oscar Robertson? I don't know, but he's in the conversation. Right? And if some furniture has to move, and if I have to put some hands on some people so they understand John Stockton belongs in the conversation, period, end story. Right? Just because he's wearing the hip hugger shorts and he's not playing above the rim does not mean he's not one of the all-time greatest players, bar none. Right? So we're not going to have, well, he's not, No. John Stockton's in the conversation. And I, coming from a different community, will be 10 toes down on that. You're going to put respect on Jason Williams' name. You're going to put respect on whoever. Right? Whatever player you want to name that doesn't come from the quote-unquote prescribed background. If they're a baller, they're a baller. Okay? In the same way that I'll battle for whoever, LeBron in terms of his impact and what he means to basketball, Kevin Garnett, right, in his place in the basketball hierarchy, tremendous player, NBA champion, should have won more championships, whatever. Like, I will defend both groups tooth and nail. Okay, you ain't putting respect on KG's name. You ain't putting respect on whoever. Mully, Stockton. We talk about Jeff Hornet, whoever, Larry Bird. I'll right. Like we can debate, we can throw arguments. I will make my point. These guys belong just like anybody else. And now back to the coaching. That is the epicenter of it. Okay? Can people who happen to be white look at the inequities that are taking place relative to coaching and other, you're right. This is things that happen just in professional life, period. And it doesn't only happen to African Americans, it happens to people from all backgrounds. It doesn't make it right in any situation. But the question we're saying is, can people of goodwill and of conscience who happen to benefit within said system step out and call out the flaws of the system? Can they do that? Will they do that? Have they done that? Are they used to doing that? Which is another part of the conversation, right? So that's the heart. Not, you just want to bring up race and change the nature of the conversation. No. Can we acknowledge that there is something amiss, awry, off? We're talking about head coaches, particularly NFL, or just head coaches in general, and representation. Can we acknowledge that there's something off, or do we not? Are we just see no evil, we know we can't acknowledge. There's nothing off there, right? Versus, I will acknowledge that when we're having these that so-and-so can't play. They're not good because they're not African American, because they don't have a 45-inch vertical. No, I'm not having it. It's ridiculous. And I don't care if I'm not your Negro anymore, because I said it. I'm going to say it. If they're a baller, they're a baller. Black, white, yellow, green, orange, period, end of story. You're a good dude. You're a good hooper. You're good with me. Well, you're a sellout, and but you say again and again and again. Never mind, I've gone through that since I was knee high, so you're not telling me, showing me anything new. Okay, but it's just central to how I view the game and what sports has meant in my life from a very young age. People that have changed my life. I go back to Nyack College. I go back to those basketball camps. I go back to the players on that team. I go back to Coach Bailey. All right. Folks changed my life. Black folks, white folks, good folks. Okay? So we're not going to have, well, this guy can't hoop because, no, he's a hooper. He's a ball player. All right, well, you ain't, me and you ain't going to rock on that one, man. We ain't going to rock on that one. Yeah, I still respect you. Hopefully you respect me, but we ain't going to rock on that one. That player right there, ball player. All right? And I ain't hearing nothing to the contrary. If they stop balling, then they stop. But as long as they balling, they're a ball player, period. And that's just how the story go. All right, so, hey, hire the best man but give every man an opportunity. That's what it is. Hire that best man, but we got to give every man an opportunity. Okay? To go ahead and get on today their success. Yeah, SandCity, we in the building, folks. We in the building. We in the building. Come through, share community, rock with your boy. It is what it is. Just let folk know, we ain't got no end in sight. We doing what we doing. Hope you guys are doing what you guys are doing. And it's going well. Whether you're in the sunshine or whether you're in the brick cold, I hope it's going well. So we're gonna get to some culture stuff. We're gonna get to the culture stuff. You ain't getting off the hook relative to Thibs. We gonna get to Thibs. We're gonna get to the NBA, some trades, some speculative trades, and things of that nature. Right, but we also are going to yeah. We're gonna do right because we got days, right? So we're gonna get to some of yes sir. Give me that. And let me just cue this up. Let me just make sure that I have my art that I need. I gotta make sure I got the art that I need here, and then we're gonna cue this up in short order. Hold on. It's changed, and we're not gonna have too much. What in the Sam Hill? God, I get this thing. They changed it up on me a bit here. Yes, sir. Hold on. You know it. You knowing it. So I'm lining this up. I know you're waiting. I know we live, folks. I know we live, but we getting ready because every day we have a different. Every day is a different. We got different themes for the different days, as I've said to you guys, and so we're in a second, and I'm getting there. I know we're live, and this is not. You know what I'm saying? Okay, there's a couple things going on. Alrighty. But let's get there. Okay, and take it from there. So hold on. We got. So that's gonna be for that. I know people in television land, we losing some momentum, but let me tell you right now, we're gonna get it back in a second. We lost it, but then we got it back. No two ways about it. We lost it, but we got it back. Okay. All right, so let's rock and roll right now. We ready now. We ready. Okay, you with me, folks? Because we ready right now. What is this guy talking I just had it lined up. Where did it go? Come on. Goodness. All right, now we threatening, but it's well worth it. Yes. You ready for? Folks, every we do different things, different days. I know it's a Saturday, but folks, we gonna go back to Herbie Derby Wednesdays. Herbie Derby Wednesdays. Let's get it going. Hey, 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 hey. I know it's Saturday, folks, but we going back to Herbie Derby Wednesdays. It's my grandfather right there. Gotta lift him up. Little Wissy, Georgia. Great Depression. World War II veteran. Just fortunate to have him in my life. 99 years young. So why do we do this? Hey. Hey. What? Why do we do this, folks? Because it's important for me, right? Just want to, I think this is for me. Because again, I know it's Saturday, but again, just folks don't know what's going on. We every day of the week we have themes, and the dreaded day shift, doesn't allow me to get on every single day. That's on me. I have to make time for my passion project. It is a busy time right now with school and sports. I referee high school basketball. Beautiful thing. Very fortunate. So the days are long sometimes. Great days, long days. And I just can't get to the pod on those days. As one season moves into the next, there will be that opportunity. But yeah, so I missed Herbie Derby Wednesday. We're going back. We did, you know what I mean? So this is Herbie Derby. In this picture, he's 97. It's like 97. Right? Full head of hair. You might not be able, he has that's that hat because he served in World War II. So he would always wear the hats, acknowledging his veteran status. So that was pretty cool. There's times where we had been just out at a restaurant and he would have his hat on. And other veterans would come up to him and just like shake his hand and say, I want to thank you, for your service and right, what you did for the country. So we'd always wear that, and that'd be a really cool thing. But what I have to share that kind of I see a lot working in my teaching, working with the youths, the best and brightest, the students that are, going to be leading the Commonwealth and the nation going forward is, they have the joy, they have the enthusiasm, they have the curiosity and they're striving. But what comes to my mind is he used to always call me champ when I was that age, when I was in grammar school. And how you doing, champ? How's everything going there, champ? And when you're a kid and your parents and your grandparents and your relatives, like they encourage you, you just think that that's natural. Like, yeah, I'm a champion. Yeah, you're just like, this is, the way it should be. Right? I know we all have different backgrounds and our journeys are certainly different. I hope, you guys out there in television land, that you had people in your formative years that just encourage you, just, whether it be family, whether it be a friend group, whoever it was, right? But my grandfather, well, how you doing, champ? Right? And you tell them, I'm gonna be an astronaut, and yes, you can do it. You can be, and they just encourage you to do, uh, what you were born to do, and what's gonna help you and help society, and those positive, uplifting things. And so, as I'm teaching, and I'm, as I just get these flash, because you want to instill confidence in the students, you want them to believe in themselves, right? And you want to just kind of help them to learn and to grow, to be successful. You get a chance to see how long of a journey it is when you're teaching, right? You can see the promise in students, right? And so you want, oh, this kid has, so we're just going to develop it, and it's going to happen in a year, it's just going to come together. And then you kind of think about your own journey maybe, and you're just like, man, how many people did I have encouraging me, pushing me to, and it just took time. In certain phase, it took time. So, yeah, we're here. It's 11 degrees on the Cape, brick cold outside. It's a Saturday, but we doing Herbie Derby Wednesdays. We got this Herbie Derby Wednesdays that we're gonna bring to you right now. That's the man right there, Herbie Derby. My grandfather. He's sitting in the big chair. This was a week. This was a week day event at the local church that I attend. Federated Church in Hyannis. Yep, shout out to the Federated Church in Hyannis. I grew up in the church, in that particular church when I was younger, actually. Then stepped away for some years, and then as I've gotten older, kind of got back into it, giving me stability, giving me, kind of perspective, right? Getting a little bit older, need the perspective, need to be held accountable, and right, not about being better or worse than anybody or projecting anything on anybody. That's just me and my journey. So this was a weekday event, and because my grandfather, he's born in Little Whiskey, Georgia. He's part of the Great Migration South. Excuse me, the Great Migration from the South north for opportunities and freedoms. So his oldest brother, he was one of 12. I always forget, is it 10 or 12? That's my mom. I'll have that specific for you the next day. I'll have that for you tomorrow when we come for the AFC Championship game. But I believe it's 12 in the rural South. His father, my great grandfather, died young when Herbie was, I don't know, I think he was like 6 or 7. Very young. His dad passed away in a car accident. And what happened was, I'm not going to go too deep into this, right? And folks, you're welcome to chime in. But my great grandfather is driving the car, and it, the car turned and swung, and he fell out of the car, and then the car fell on him. So they got the car off of him. But it was a tragedy because, he didn't die in the car accident. He lived, and he was obviously mortally wounded. But he, in that time, you couldn't go to the hospital. You couldn't, they wouldn't let blacks go to the quote unquote white hospital in those days. So, when we talk about And we're talking about the history. I know we're having a conversation about history and what's not history. So we have to preface these things. This is the history that happened, and it's not to, again, point any fingers in any directions. That's just what happened. We had a community hospital that the community couldn't go to. And so they brought him back to the house. This is my great grandfather. He's awake, he's conscious. The local, quote unquote doctor, or person in the community that had a medical background came over, examined him. His uh, vital organs were damaged. So he passed away in the house from those injuries from the car accident. When Herbie, again, he's very young, like he's like 6 or 7, 6, 7, 8, like in those years. So he passed away. Whole community, in those times, you had the service at the house. The funeral, you couldn't, so service was at the house. And so his mother, my grandfather's mother, raised 10, 12 kids. She remarried, so she had more kids with her second husband. But you're already living in the Great Depression in the rural South, and now you lose your father at a young age. And so Herbie was he's one of, I believe that, and I think there's 12, 6 boys and 6 girls. So Herbie was the third youngest. Oldest brother, Ludi. Next, I didn't know Ludi as well. Arthur, my Uncle Arthur. I grew up in Uncle Arthur's house. Big part of my childhood, Uncle Arthur. Then Walter. Ludi, Arthur, Walter. Then I believe next was Herbie, then Sam, then George. George was the youngest. So, yeah, Herbie was he used to say he's the last of the Mohicans. He was, right? So 99 years, so he lived a good long life. And again, he was healthy he passed away of cancer, which the last 6 months he started to go down. I mean, but this man passed away with a full head of hair, which you can't see under his cap. So, he was living. He lived for the overwhelming majority, and just a character. He's from you know what I mean. I was born in Summit, New Jersey. So he lived in Union, New Jersey for many years. Union, which is, if you're not familiar, Union is just south of Newark, or in the who knows east, south, west, but it's in the greater Newark area in New Jersey, north central Jersey. So he was just you call him the mayor. He just knew everybody knew him. He knew everybody, and so he was just a man of the city, right? He at this, I think he had to stop driving, but he was driving till he was like 95. Like, he was on the road, you know what I mean? Not great distances, but, and actually he would drive, because my cousin, and then my cousin-in-law, who was a successful businessman in New Jersey, when he would come up to the Cape to visit the family and so on, like, Herbie would drive some of those. I'm tired, Herbie. Can you drive? He would be try. He'd take over. He'd try. I mean, he make it through. He always made it through. So, Herbie Derby. I know it's a Saturday. Well, it's actually Sunday here, but you know what I mean. We go back. This is Herbie Derby Wednesday. Yes, sir. Shout out to Herbie Derby. right? And we're going. Hold on. We run this back, man. We're gonna run this back. Where's my music, man? Where's my music at, man? Herbie Derby Wednesday. Let's go. We gotta respect. We gotta lift up our greats. We'll be more where this come from. Let's go. Herbie Derby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're gonna get one more in for you. Let's get it. Hey. Hey. We got one more for you. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. Let me just get it. Herbie Derby Wednesdays. We're gonna see it. It's gonna be a You Can't Hurt Me Monday. Let's get You Can't Hurt Me Monday. Where's he at? Hold up. We gotta get Mr. Goggins. I can't. Hey. Coming up for you real quick. Hey. Let's get it. You Can't Hurt Me. Hey. Where's he at? There you go. You Can't Hurt Me Mondays. You Can't Hurt Me Mondays. Let's run it back. What? That was the remix. You Can't Hurt Me Mondays. We ready for you now. We got it on the screen. Hey. This was big for me. As I said, don't quote me. I haven't read the whole book. You Can't Hurt Me. I'm about, I'd say, like a third. No, I can't say a third. Like a quarter of the way in to the book on Audible. Shout out to Audible. Just taken aback. With David Goggins, with his story, he grew up in an abusive home, to say the least. His dad was verbally and physically abusive. I stopped, like he's in like fourth or fifth grade when I'm where I stopped the book. But he's from the Buffalo area, and then his family, he moved with his mom to the Midwest, and that's where I left off. In the book, so I haven't seen, right, he's still young. If you follow him, you can see that he, was not always this elite, world-renowned endurance athlete, never mind decorated Navy SEAL, right? As he came into his manhood, he had struggles and challenges, and then he found a certain, I know who he is now. I got some insight into who his childhood, the challenges and the struggles of which will build a Spartan, but it hasn't been connected yet for me. So I'll just make that clear. But in terms of You Can't Hurt Me Mondays, and why it's important for me, It's just the things that he says, and obviously they inspire a lot of people. But win the day, win the morning, win the day is huge, because I'm not a morning person at all, not even a little bit. Which is crazy, because I work in education, and just my background and my family that instilled a work ethic in me. So like, you got to go to work, so you got to go to work. And you can see I'm a night owl, so I'll be up late, but you got to get up, so you got to get up and go. Got to do a better job of that. You got to make sure you get your 8 hours, let your body rejuvenate. I get all that. But, the hours that I keep, sometimes it's difficult. And maybe you can relate. Maybe you're one of these disciplined people that goes to bed at 8, gets up at 4, and just grinds. Okay, that's not me. But this idea of win the morning, win the day, 100% right. If you can get through that, if for me, huge, other people, I think it's true for everybody to a certain extent, right? Because even, it's, you got things on your mind, you're concerned, you're worried, you don't know if you can do it, you don't know if you're going to make it, all the things that we go through in the morning. But if you can get out and blast off and get just out into the day some way, it gets better. It gets progressively better. To the point where some of these days, for myself, right, and for you guys out there in television land, you know what I'm talking about? Like in the morning, it's like, I can't do this. I don't even know if I want to do this. What am I doing? This is just not making sense. I don't feel great. I'm not particularly motivated. It's cold. What is going on here? Right? And then you kind of put one pot. Well, let me just see if I can get this done. Let me just try to do that. Maybe I'll work this out that way, and you just start to put things together, and I don't know if I might have to cancel that event. I might have to cancel. I don't know if I can do it, So I can make, I'm not going to make the whole day, but maybe I can make it to this point, and then we'll just see from there. Right. And you just start, as I say, falling forward. 1 foot, you just fall forward, and you start, okay. And you fall forward, and you fall forward, and you fall forward. And, yeah, you might not have won the morning, but you survived the morning. You survived the morning, and got into your day, and just without exception for me, getting into the day and getting, once you just knock off that rush, do something here, do something there, you're able to make strides, right? You're able to achieve something, things, connect with people, get some encouragement, build some enthusiasm, and have a day, be a productive member of society, right? So win the morning, win the day. We discussed that the previous David, You Can't Hurt Me Mondays. The other quote that I saw from him recently that, as he said, fix your life, man. Fix your life. Do it tired, do it broke, do it unhappy. Man up, show up every day and fix your life. Nobody's going to do it for you. Okay? Nobody's coming to save you. Fix your life. Show up every day. Okay? Get the help you need. Right? And do it. I was like, this man is like, so that was one, on a this was yeah. We all have our days and our weeks. Some are, as I said, it's a busy time. All our lives everybody's busy, right? Everybody's busy in different ways. But that one was, right? Show up every day and fix your life. When this is going on, when that's going on, when the third's going on, when you need help, when you need to reach out, when you need, right? Whatever the case may be. Support, prayer, encouragement, criticism, whatever the case may be. Show up and get it done. So, hey, hey. You ain't said a lie, Mr. Goggins. No lies detected. We did Herbie Derby Wednesdays. You can't hurt me Monday. Throwing it back. Yes, sir. SandCity, let's get it. Okay, we're going. Hey. Shout out to David Goggins. Check out the book. Get down with him. A lot of great stuff. Let's go. SandCity. Hey. Let's move back. Hold on. We're going to talk about the Oscars, but you ain't getting off the hook. You ain't getting off the hook. We're gonna switch gears. Appreciate y'all out there. SandCity Sports. Hour number 3. No end in sight. Come get some. Shout out. Shout out to DJ Technic for this. I'm not an MC, not a DJ. Hey! Shout out. Right? We don't play hit, we congratulate. DJ A. Techniques. And that's some of you guys might, you might we cite our sources on SandCity Sports. Okay. Had to pull that from The Wire. Okay, that's coming from season 3, Amsterdam. If you guys didn't know, I'm not gonna take credit for something that's not mine. But we're gonna use that because that gave me, you know what I mean. I gotta get that, man. We know that The Wire, greatest of all time, as far as I'm concerned, television show. Every season a different theme, right? Season 1, West Baltimore, or season 1, the inner city, Baltimore, West Baltimore, principally. Season 2, the ports. Season 3, City Hall. Season 4, the schools. Season 5, the papers. Okay. Masterpiece. So that's coming from season 3, Amsterdam. The Wire people out there, you know what I'm talking about. All right. let's get it. We got to discuss the Oscars. We're going to discuss the Oscars most definitely, but we got to go over to the NBA and get down in the NBA for a bit, because there's a number of things jumping off. A number of there you go. Okay. Can move on up. Now it is beyond dispute. Salim. Oh yes. All right. Let's head to the NBA. Salim. Okay, folks. The receipts have been kept. We kept all the receipts, folks. All right. In terms of what happened with my coach, the coach of the New York Knicks, Mr. Tom Thibodeau. All right. And the lack of respect that was put on his name. Now, franchise, what are they, 2-9 in the last 11? Talking about trading key players who are on the NBA All-Star team. Lack of role acceptance. The list goes on and on. All right. Folks, I don't know why you didn't leave well enough alone. You, meaning James Dolan and the Knicks. Don't know why you didn't leave it alone and allow the team to continue to flourish and grow and succeed up to an NBA championship. But you couldn't leave well enough alone. Want to besmirch this coach's good name, success that he brought to the organization. Right? And we're ending up where we're ending up. Wild to me that less than 2 years after bringing Cat into New York, this is the solution. Right? Trade Karl Anthony Towns for Jaren Jackson? As if that's a better fit? Jaren Jackson Jr. with Jalen Brunson is a better fit than Cat and JB? The New York Knicks, the New York JB? Folks, I got to approach this from two ways. First of all, we're going to talk about Thibs. Then we'll talk about just where the Knicks find themselves, okay? Right? Since when? Hold on. Right? The only time success comes before work is in the dictionary. All right? Buddy of mine in college put me onto that quote, Vince Lombardi. The only time success comes before work is in the dictionary. Since when is anybody successful without grinding? And what has Mr. Tom Thibodeau always been about? Point, period, end of story, the grind. That's how Kevin Garnett becomes a Defensive Player of the Year in 2008. With who as a defensive coach? One Mr. Tom Thibodeau. Who Danny Ainge and Doc Rivers swooped in and got after Jeff Van Gundy was unceremoniously removed as the coach of the Houston Rockets. Didn't believe that should have happened. Yes, Rick Adelman came in. They had some success. Yao and Tracy McGrady were never healthy together. Okay. So Rick Adelman did a nice job. Maybe that's what the Knicks were thinking when this nonsense went off. Jeff Van Gundy, as good of a coach as he was, did not have the Houston Rockets in the Western Conference Finals. If he had Tracy McGrady, we know he didn't have the Houston Rockets. Because he had Tracy McGrady, we know he didn't have the Houston Rockets anywhere near the second round. Where Tracy McGrady never entered. So I don't know if that's what the Knicks were thinking. Didn't feel the Rockets should have got rid of Van Gundy. I'm going to say it again. Rick Adelman came in, did a nice job. Okay, they made some runs. They made some moves, even with injuries. All right. But Jeff Van Gundy was, is, will be a good coach. So Tom Thibodeau puts the Knicks on the doorstep of the finals. Doing it his way, the way, right? You knew who the man was when you brought him in. No nonsense, over-prepared, excellent feel for the game, getting it done. You brought him in and it began to build. Who was Julius Randle before he come up under Tom Thibodeau's leadership? Certainly not an NBA All-Star. Now he's, if not max contract, close, All-Star grade. Tough to make the All-Star game in the West. But that's from Thibs' leadership and him trusting it. Talk about Hartstein, NBA champion. Who was he before Thibs' leadership? But a backup to Mitchell Robinson. Now an integral piece on an NBA championship team. Jimmy Butler, yes, injured. Who was Jimmy Butler? The backup for Derrick Rose. Before he come up under Thibs' leadership and an opportunity presents itself. The man develops talent and developed the Knicks with the right pieces, right? Yeah, what they gave up for Mikal Bridges. We needed Mikal Bridges. We needed Karl Anthony Towns back in the Big Apple. I did not want to. I'm still angry about giving up Ragu, DiVincenzo. You can keep Jordan Clarkson. He's a good player. He fills it up. Give me DiVincenzo. You can have Miles McBride or Deuce McBride, excuse me. Maybe okay. That wouldn't have prohibited them from drafting Tyler Kolek, who's doing a nice job there. I didn't like Ragu leaving. I thought it could have been worked out. Maybe this is one of the things because he had, when Ragu came back, he had some words for Thibs, and there was some, and then he had some words with Jalen Brunson's dad. That was, they're all Nova guys. It was squashed. But I wanted to keep the four Nova guys together. Ragu, Brunson, Bridges, Hart. Keep the Nova guys together. La Cosa Nova, Karl Anthony Towns in the mix, Mitchell Robinson in the mix, Tyler Kolek in the mix. It's an NBA championship team. Got the Celtics up and out of there. A healthy Celtics team with Drew Holiday, who shouldn't have ever been traded. It was wrong then. It's wrong now. This idea that success comes before work, cutting corners. It just boggles my mind. Miami, never mind that they don't tank. They have their coach in Eric Spoelstra. We're going to let him coach hard, the right way. That's how you get an 8th seed in the NBA Finals. I think Pat Riley, well, you got to get rid of Spoelstra because no, let's see what proof is in the pudding. The proof is consistent winning. So the Knicks, this knee-jerk reaction, fantastical and, illogical succession plans. I'm going to headhunt Jason Kidd from the Dallas Mavericks. Because they're in the midst of a cauldron of stupidity, trading Luka. That's going to make them roll out the red carpet to give up their coach who got them to the finals. That's not going to happen. And that's your plan A, and you don't have a plan B? So you get a stopgap coach who happens to play the completely different style. Tom Thibodeau, the Knicks' pace was on the lower end in the league. It doesn't mean that they didn't run. They most certainly did run and have a wide open offense. And I wish all those people that had their fingers in the pot talking about what this Knicks needs to do and they need to play this way and need to play this player, None of those things came to fruition when the Knicks were beating the Boston Celtics, the defending champions, a dynastic team, in 6 games. Yes, Tatum got injured, but he got injured when the Knicks were up 2-0 in Game 3 to go up 3-0. Nobody was talking about his rotations or the pace that he plays because the theory worked. Do I want people to have their comeuppance? Am I raining on anybody's parade? None of that. But less than half a year into the new regime, and it did start off well. And I like what I saw on Christmas Day. Right? And I want this team to be successful and win an NBA championship, even though they got rid of the coach who brought success into the forefront. But the idea that you go from the fast start and winning on Christmas Day to now talking about trading, which would essentially blow up the team. What you need to do, Knicks, is pay Mike Brown his money and bring back Thibs. That's what you need to do. Not going to be the only organization that's paying a coach multiple years, right? It seems to happen all the time. Mike Brown got his job. It's happened to Mike Brown more than once. Got the job in LA. He's supposed to be the guy. It's not working. Mike, here's your 5 years. We're going to bring Mike D'Antoni in. We're going to take the hit just because you've got to take the hit. Before the Knicks trade away the roster, because, again, the Celtics are playing good basketball, highest offensive, so on. All right. That's great. They're not going to win without Drew. That's my take. I'm sticking to it. If and when they do, let's come back to this episode. Brick cold night, 11 degrees outside, going into a snowstorm. Fortunately, we still have power. They're not winning without Drew. That's the Celtics. They're not winning without Drew. Unless they bring in another winner comparable to Drew. Period. Not winning a championship. And the Knicks are not going to win a championship trading away Karl-Anthony Towns for Jaren Jackson Jr. No, they are not. The roster as constructed is the team. You keep adding all these bells and whistles. I like Jordan Clarkson. He's a good player, good scorer, so on and forth. Good, whatever. And as you have to bench. Then you got a bunch of these Mike Brown guys that he's brought in to play his up. This is not, Karl-Anthony Towns is not a 7 seconds or less up-tempo player. And you want to talk about he has not been a good defender since he left Kentucky. Has not. Mind-boggling, I know. That's not his game. He also wasn't shooting threes when he first came into the league. His game has evolved. He's not that guy defensively. Thibs was dealing with it all last year, right? And yes, Thibs, right, he can be surly, caustic, stoic, whatever you want to say. He can be that way. Okay? The point of fact is, what does Signetti say? He wins. And along with that, if the environment had become whatever, hostile, tense, first of all, you're still winning. You lose the Eastern Conference Finals. You're right there on the cusp. A team that before Thibs had what? Had lottery on 3. Had a lot of angry fans and no direction. Right? Thibs over here bringing back prosperity. It gets a little tense in here. We'll just bring in a Jason Kidd. Okay, we talked about that, but bring in an upbeat, uplifting player. Okay, Brad Stevens and the M.A. Udoka situation, fallout, he didn't provide help for Joe Mazzulla. And that's the reason that they lost to the Miami Heat after coming back from 0-3 to tie it up at 3-3 at home and get blown out. In my view, it was Joe Mazzulla against the world. He was the fourth head coach on that team. M.A. was the first coach. Will Hardy, the second coach, coaching in Utah. Damon Stoudemire, coaching in Georgia Tech, as the third coach. And then Joe Mazzulla. You go from fourth down the line to the big seat. Who's helping him? See, the next year, Brad Stevens provides, a boatload of help. Sam Cassell, lead assistant. Charles Lee, now head coach of the Charlotte Hornets. Top guy for Coach Bud, lead assistant. Emil Jefferson, Duke, assistant. Jeff Van Gundy, special consultant in the front office. You brought in a brain trust. All right? Two of whom that they've lost. Lost Jeff Van Gundy, headhunted by the Clippers, and lost Charles Lee, head coach of the Hornets. If the situation is getting tense, but you bring in some help for the guy. Yes, it's going to be Thibs' way, but he could have staff members on the offensive part of the side of the ball, since he's a defensive coach, to address those issues, bring some positivity, and we move forward together. Instead, you jettison the baby with the bathwater. Bring back Thibs before you get rid of Cat. Period. End story with the Knicks. Bring back Thibs before you get rid of Cat. You get rid of Cat, it's over. This team, the team is the team. You got La Cosa Nova, and you got Cat back in New York to do it for the motherland. He's from Jersey. He's doing it for the motherland. Okay? His hometown. If it's not broke, you shouldn't have tried to fix it. Now that it's you don't blow it up. I'm telling you right now. It's already been 50 years. Do we want to wait another 10, 20 years before you get back into contention? Last time the Knicks had 2 starters in the All-Star game was never. Or a very long time. Back to the 70s. That was achieved under whose leadership? That guy. Right? This ain't gonna. I'm not up in here, right? And SandCity's gonna be back. We're gonna be back tomorrow, right? It's late now, but in about 12 hours, we're gonna be right back with you. Okay, it's gonna be a beautiful thing. Let's go. But as we wind up this episode, Knicks, weather this storm, stay together. You don't trade the core players if it has to be, acknowledge you did something wrong. I'm saying what I'm saying. Well, they're not going to do that. They can't do that. Okay, fine. Well, then just give up your championship window, because that's what's going to happen. If Mike Brown can't get along with Cat, first of all, don't trade him. Do not trade him. Mike Brown, make the adjustments, or bring in the next, Thibs replacement. That's not Thibs, and roll the dice from there. It's a tough time. I don't know. I mean, tough times, maybe that's a little bit too much. It's a challenge. All right, guys, let's go to our slice of life. Let's get to slice of life. And see where we are. We'll save some of these things. Okay, free Thibs. All right, let's head over to our slice of life as we wind down. We will certainly be right back in the mix tomorrow for the championship games, no doubt about it, as I've said, and then we'll conclude because we got more on the NBA to get to. We got a lot more on the NBA to get to, but we're gonna pick that up. Now let's. This is just it hurt my heart, man. It hurts my heart to see this, man. It's just.
We failed. I'm failing. I can't get through to the team, so I don't know what else I can say. Things that we might draw up on a board in a huddle don't get executed sometimes because there isn't a commitment to listening, and we lack discipline in terms of listening to what some of the things that I'm trying to get across to the team. So my voice is not working. We have not played well here in years, like since before COVID. Like we had this place cooking before COVID. Now it's a sterile environment. We don't win here. We don't give the fans any reason to show up with enthusiasm to think that we're going to win a basketball game. And we have been dreadful at home for years. So, we failed. I'm failing. I can't get through to the team. So I don't know what else I can say. Things that we might draw up on a board in a huddle don't get executed sometimes because there isn't a commitment to listening. And we lack discipline in terms of listening to what some of the things that I'm trying to get across to the team. So my voice is not working. We have not played well here in years, like since before COVID. Like we had this place cooking before COVID. Now it's a sterile environment. We don't win here. We don't give our fans any reason to show up with enthusiasm to think that we're going to win a basketball game. And we have been dreadful at home for years. So, we failed. I'm failing. I can't get through to the team. So I don't know what else I can say. Things that we might draw up on.
So, right. So it's Hurley's last year. It's not looking good. I love this. I love the honesty. I love. Right, and you can't say that. No. Right, this is the Hurley way. It resonates deeply with me. It's Bobby is in a tough spot. Danny has it cooking, has it rolling. Their approaches and philosophies are clearly similar. But I rock with how this is what it is, and you guys make your decision in the year. Bring me back, don't bring me back, but it's not good. We're doing everything obviously in our power to make it better, but you don't want to listen to Bobby Hurley Jr. I mean, I don't know who you're going to listen to. All right, small world that it is. Let's stay with within the family. Let's go. Next take.
Absolutely 100% believe that teams are developed during the basketball season, and summers are for kids individually get better. As much as we want to give away camp championship shirts at camp, and the kids are all, because they're competitive, everybody, boys and girls, they all want to win, play, they all want to get the championship game. It's really important to just get better. Absolutely 100% believe that teams are developed during the basketball season, and summers are for kids individually get better. As much as we want to give away camp championship shirts at camp, and the kids are all, because they're competitive, everybody, boys and girls, they all want to win, play, they all want to get the championship game. It's really important to just get better. Absolutely 100%
Yes, sir. All right, and it's going to be for our slice of life tonight. It's a beautiful thing. It's going to be an all Hurley.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I
Slice
just tried
of
to
life.
make light of it the other day. It wasn't a shot. I mean, I'm friends with Preston and Nate, and got a lot of respect for Alabama. I mean, some of the stuff with just the guys, again, coming from, like G League or some of that stuff. That's what, I love the movies and the 80s comedies. Obviously, you can't make movies like that now. You will get in a lot of trouble, but just that reminded me of just back to school at Rodney Dangerfield. That's what brought that back to that. Just not that isolated thing with that one particular player, but I try to make light of it. I don't know. It's like, can a player that only played 3 years of football, right, and then enters the NFL draft, can they leave the Arena League next year and go play? Can they leave the CFL next year? Like if somebody in the Big Ten needs a left tackle or something, the guy gets hurt, can you pull a guy off a practice squad on an NFL team? Can a guy from the Browns next year come back and play left tackle somewhere? It's shit is absurd. But the person though that has the most equity with me, Coach Izzo, because I think he's never been a cheater in recruiting. He's a coach's coach. I heard him say something, and I'm smart enough to listen to the best coach for me in the game, and Coach Izzo, and it's like, we're just going to do the things we do here at UConn, the way that we do them, the way that we want to build the program. We want to recruit high school players, develop them, keep them. And then we want to go in the portal and do what we do there. And we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. And if at some point the sport has changed so much that you can't be effective doing it that way, then either I'll get out of college coaching or I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just tried to make light of it the other day. And it wasn't.
It's out of control for sure. It's not the best. Hold on. Let's get Danny a better picture there.
A shot.
There we go. But no lies detected. It's an all Hurley slice of life, which is a beautiful thing. But from different angles, different vantage points of the college game. The wins and the losses, the highs and the lows, for sure. Pat Riley, right? There's only two things in sports. There's winning and misery, right? So you're either on one side of that or the other. And then the systemic threats is the word. The systemic threats to college sports. I.e. the transfer portal, eligibility, years of eligibility, and what constitutes eligibility, right? So there's systemic threats, and hopefully college sports gets their arms around them now, so that an outstanding, glorious sport can continue in perpetuity. Yes, sir, folks. We have reached this point in the show. Beautiful thing. SandCity.